It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and right now you tune into World Combat Sports.
Hello, once again. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. What's good? And salute to each and every one of you that's out there, that's in the workforce, that's living, that's surviving, COVID free. You know what I'm saying? COVID free. Continue to do what you do. Be blessed. Be prayed up. Above all else, continue to support World Combat Sports Media. You know, I had to come back with an update on my boy Chris Weidman, one of the American fighters out here that represent the red, white, and blue. You know, as you already knew, UFC 261, he was on the undercard facing Uriah Hall. Like I always say about the comparisons and following the sport of combat, man. You know, Uriah Hall and Chris Weidman had a unique history. You know, he defeated Uriah Hall back in 2010 in the Ring of Combat 31. He gave Uriah Hall his first loss. You know what I'm saying? Chris Weidman delegated Anderson Silva his first loss in the UFC. Uriah Hall was the last man to defeat Anderson Silva last year in October. And he may very well be the last man to defeat Chris Weidman, coming off this horrific breakage of his tibia and fibula, broken in half. Tibia and fibula. He's out for a year. He's out for a year before he can train. That's how bad it is. Now, of course, there's ways and supplements he can use for his body to help his bones heal faster. They had to send a rod down through his from his knee, however they did it, all the way down as a post and put screws in there. I mean, he has a heavy cast on that leg, obviously, how severe the breakage was. And he has to, I mean, the pain is going to be crazy for the first 3 or 4 weeks. The recovery process is just going to be sick. I'm telling you, the recovery process, I can't imagine. I can't imagine much extreme things that I've done. I've only had fractures. But for Anderson Silva, for Chris Weidman, and a plethora of other fighters who's been in combat sports or in sports period, who's basically broken bones, it takes a while to heal, for real. It takes a long time. And especially for Chris Weidman, he was on the brink, y'all. Chris Weidman was on the brink of a title shot. He was on the brink of a title shot. Let's say, for instance, Israel Adesanya would have went in here and defeated Marvin Vettori, a guy who he fought earlier and went the distance with. Chris Weidman would have been right on deck. He is a bad matchup for Adesanya. But right now, Weidman would be on the shelf, man, in recovery, waiting for his bones to heal. Furthermore, he has to get an examination to check the healing process out. And if all is well with that, then they'll say, okay, now it's time for you to start rehabilitation. He has to get back in there and rehabilitate. And this is probably minimum 12 months. Then they have to give him the green light to jump back in training to get ready to compete. You can only imagine, you know, the tedious process and the rigors that he's going to have to experience getting prepared for that. Being out for a year, not doing anything, not remediating, not going through the cardio process, you know, not keeping your body's unable to get its coordination and timing down. You're not sparring. You're not doing any type of drills. Because first and foremost, when it comes to mixed martial arts, you need your legs tremendously. I'm not saying you cannot box mitts in a wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? But when you on crutches, with a cast that big, you're definitely going to be a person that cannot put weight on that, and you have to be patient enough for the doctor to give you that okay. Salute to everyone that's in the chat, man. D Hodges, what's good with you, D Hodges? Salute to you, OG. What's good? Appreciate you pulling up. But that's a huge factor. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm going to provide you with the recent thumbnail I put up. I just wanted to keep the one up yesterday just to give you an indication of the history of Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva. It's crazy how that thing worked itself out. But Chris Weidman's been heavy on Twitter for someone who's like only a couple of days removed from, his leg break. He put out there a few x-rays pre-surgery and post-surgery. You know what I'm saying? If you look at, what he has up here as far as the x-rays, let me put it up there so you all can see it. It's crazy. Look at how bad that break is. The tibia and fibula. Look how bad that break is, y'all. Look at the screws that he'll have in his leg forever and a day. Same situation Anderson Silva went through. That's a nasty break. A nasty break. But look, I would say for someone who is probably in extensive, excruciating pain as Chris Weidman, for him to be on social media and talking to his fans like that is incredible. Real talk. It's incredible for him to even want to engage with fans after that fight. But, everybody's warrior spirit is different. Everybody's warrior spirit is different. Shout out to Deion Nicholson. I'm glad after his loss, he's been on here engaging and interacting with his fans. You know what I'm saying? I respect the shit out of that, man. This man is with his family. He just took a loss on TV. That was his first loss. And we was cheering him on, stepping into the ring. And he's out here engaging and talking with his fans. That's real warrior type shit right there. That's a motherfucker that's confident in who he is and his ability. One loss don't define who he is. And that's what I'm saying in perspective to Chris Weidman too. It's not his first loss, but it can be considered one of his worst loss. I mean, a lot of us think that, the knee that was landed by Yoel Romero was one of his worst leading up to this point, because it was a brutal knee landed in the top of the head that had Chris Weidman leaking. But cuts can heal faster than breaks in a lot of cases. You know what I'm saying? They can heal. But I don't want to come on here and say that's the risk you take from being a part of, the Muddy Flats, man, on, the mixed martial arts game of combat. That's the risk you take. It's a risk in a lot of things you do. But for Chris Weidman, 36 years old, he really, truly wasn't trying to go through this process of experiencing an injury like this. It's just a lot to deal with. It's a lot to freaking deal with, people. I'm not gonna lie. That is a lot to deal with. You have screws in your leg right now. You have to wait and see if it heals properly. If it heals properly, you have to see, once you're able to put weight on it and start getting, slowly but surely, gradually, jump starting your training again, putting weight on it. Is it some nagging pain there? How's it going to be? All the medication you on, you know what I'm saying? Try your best not to balloon up in weight. He's not the first one to suffer a crazy injury in mixed martial arts. but everybody's rehabilitation phase is different when it comes down to it. You feel me? Everybody's shit is different. I apologize, they doing my yard. So you might hear, the engine or the motor of a weed eater outside. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, my yard is getting maintenance today, so be patient, people. Apologies, but when it comes down to Weidman, I don't want to say okay he'll be back better and stronger than ever. He will be back. We just don't know when. And when he does come back, I believe he will more than likely be would have aged another year, from my understanding. You know what I'm saying? He has a birthday coming up on June 17th. So he'll be 37 years old this year. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be 37 by the time he returns back to the ring. Potentially, he may be 38 years old. I'm going to say definitively he will be 38 years old. Why? Because if it's going to take him a year to be out in this April, all the way to next April, it's not going to just take him 2 months to get ready. Once they give him the okay and say, yeah, you good, get back in training, he's going to have a fight. No, so he probably won't be back into the ring until he's damn near heading into 2023. And he'll be, his age will be close to 39 years old. That's if training, fight camp, and everything else goes well, sparring goes well, and his leg is not giving him a nagging injury. I mean, I look at it this way. There's some people that's had some crazy injuries and still competed, aka Michael Bisping. It's crazy injuries that you didn't think they was going to return to the sport. And of course, it's always depending on what injury you receive, on how quick you're going to recover. Everybody's physical internal composition is different when it comes to the healing process. But yeah, you know where I'm at. You know where I'm at, man. So get well, Chris Weidman. You're a warrior. Salute to you. And we really want to wish you the best in that recovery. Once again, a crazy situation. I must reiterate, he was the same fighter who fought Anderson Silva back in 2013. And I have to refresh people's memory, right? He fought Anderson Silva back in 2013. He gave Anderson Silva his first loss, people. Fight fans. He gave Anderson Silva his first loss in the UFC. Not only that, he knocked him out. Anderson Silva have not been beat at the time in the UFC. He handed him his first loss in round 2 when Anderson Silva was playing around and showboating. Knocked him out clean. Boom. Fight was stopped. Later on that year, Anderson Silva comes back for a rematch. This will be Chris Weidman's first title defense after winning the title from Anderson Silva. Checks an inside leg kick from Anderson Silva, and Silva's leg snaps in half just like Weidman's. Unbelievable. Unbelievable turn of events. He checked Anderson Silva's inside leg kick, and Uriah Hall checked Chris Weidman's outside leg kick. Unfreaking believable. Just unbelievable how that all turned out. You feel me? It's just unbelievable how that turned out, y'all. It's just a whole lot of weird, strange Halloween type shit to this fight card that was on. So let me give you a bit more information. When Chris Weidman defeated Anderson Silva the second time in 2013, It was December 2013, right? Anderson Silva returned to the cage in 2016, February 2016. We're talking about 2013, December, 2014, December, 2015, December. The man was out for a while. So, like I said before, it's probably Chris Weidman's probably going to be 39 years old by the time he steps back in the cage. Matter of fact, I take that back. If my memory serves me correct, I take that back. He returned quicker than that and popped dirty, if I'm not mistaken. Anderson Silva returned, and I would say a little over a year, and had a fight with Nick Diaz. If I'm not mistaken, I could have sworn he popped dirty, man. Because the turnaround time, him losing to Weidman in December 2013 and returning to the ring January 2015, I think that's when he supposedly popped dirty. And from my understanding, he was clear to that. I believe. I believe it was a short suspension, and he was clear to that, if I'm not mistaken. But that fight was ruled a no contest. So there you have it, man. Anderson Silva broke his leg in December 2013. Just over a year, he returns to the cage for Nick Diaz. So I don't know what the fuck was going on. Like, I don't know how he healed that quick. To go from a clean break, healing process, getting back in the gym, and returning to fight Nick Diaz, the older brother Nate Diaz. Is that shit was crazy, but he ended up being cleared. He ended up being cleared, man, of knowingly taking performance enhancing drugs. But I remember a lot of people talking at that time and say, "Oh, he had to be dirty, man," because your body just don't heal like that from a clean break. You have to see if the screws and everything's set properly. Then you have to get back into rehab rather, and then to get back in fight camp and compete. Yep. Man, wow. Forgot all about that. Tone Brown in the building. Salute to you, my brother. Hopefully everybody there is going great. But that's my update on Chris Weidman. My next, this is a cross thread pretty much, but my thumbnail is pretty much, Chris Weidman. I don't want to go, in between particulars and all the other shit, putting up different boxing and MMA at the same time. I think, his situation is much more of a recent event, you know what I'm saying, and has priority. So, I had to get that priority out the way when it comes to the media. But Tyson Fury and freaking Deontay Wilder. There's a lot that's been said from Eddie Hearns initially when the report came out that Saudi Arabia did a $60 million site fee, $6 million site fee. And then it turned around somewhat like Eddie Hearns was talking. There's $150 million site fee. Then the compilation is that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua will both receive around 75, 80 million, along with PPV. So both of them can potentially be paid over 100 million, right? Then this fight's supposed to happen in a couple of months. All right. This is the word that's going out there. Everybody's talking about it, who chooses to talk about it and boost it up. Those same people who was creating thumbnails 2-3 weeks ago and say, yeah, it's happening. It's confirmed. It's signed. It's this. Listen, if it was signed, I took this particular fight just like when they said they had a verbal agreement. I didn't take it as much merit I say it doesn't hold much weight with me right now because I'm still not seeing the promo outside of the UK media base. I want to see the promo extend over here consistently within the US mainstream media. And that is being networks who would talk about it all over. You know what I'm saying? ESPN, of course, and everybody else that's out here talking about it. Boxing scene, boxing, boxing 24. You know, all these other media sites that report on boxing and MMA. I will have to see some of those individuals start to consistently talk about it and have paperwork or documentation that this is indeed going down. But first and foremost, people, I want to see some type of indication when I log into BoxRec. I want to see that S. Where is the motherfucking S? Just like with Superman rip his shirt open, I want to see the motherfucking S for schedule. God damn it. Where is the schedule on BoxRec? Come on, man. We have to we have to join together in this. Wonder Twins activate. We have to go back to the old school and help each other out. I'm not being a hater. I'm just saying it's so many people that's talking about Joshua Fury, but they're forgetting and they're selectively discarding the fact that we haven't heard anything of a finalization of the court date of the arbitration. We haven't heard anything about that shit. Isn't that important that Deontay Wilder is putting up pictures with Malik Scott? Isn't it important to know that we haven't heard anything yet as far as the arbitration concluding? And now we have a definitive fight date. Wilder will be facing this particular fighter next, and Fury will be facing this guy, or Joshua will face. We have not heard any final word. I'm talking about sealed and delivered. Where the fuck is it? Do we have to send a search and rescue? I mean, do I have to send a legal search and rescue out here? Seriously. Do we have to call up the team for America Most Wanted and find out, can they get to the bottom of this bullshit? I am not discrediting the media segues that's out here reporting and moving this narrative. Okay. I'm not coming at you like this, but I'm just saying, like, some of y'all just make thumbnails and talk about this shit all the time for views. This Fury Joshua undisputed. And if you heard, I haven't been the one that's up here saying, well, if it happened, it's a possibility it happened. I could care less about it happening until it happens. And even then, it's not the fight I want to see. I want to see Deontay Wilder have an opportunity to come back and allow himself to compete for his retribution. He deserves it. Let's settle the score. Who's the best heavyweight? Let's settle the score. This fight right here has all the dramatic clippings, has all the suspense. It has everything to do great numbers in the trilogy. This Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight has this esteemed potential to do better than Fury Joshua. Because deep down in a lot of fans, heart, behind closed doors, in the comfort of their own homes, they're like, you know what? Tyson Fury has a better boxing IQ than Joshua. He could make this extremely boring fight, or he can go in there and knock Joshua out, because Joshua chin is very, very suspect. Once again, I apologize for the motor that you hear outside of my window, but today is maintenance day, I guess. So hopefully it's not distracting you too much. But back to what I was saying, man. A lot of people are looking at Deontay Wilder's power still as a problem for Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. So with all the dramatic, the dramatic ending to that fight, the controversy, the scandal, the conspiracy, there are just too many variables to put together for people to sit up here and devalue the fact that this fight has all the pieces to do good numbers in a trilogy. It has everything that you would want leading up to a trilogy. Has everything you need, people. Real talk. Everything you need for a trilogy. Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury's never fought. The fans don't know what's going to happen. They just taking bits and pieces of who they fought. That's all they doing, man. They looking at us. Oh, Joshua's going to give us this, and Fury's going to give us this, and Joshua's going to give us that, and Fury's going to give us that. You know, back and forth. It's like mental tennis. People are just bouncing the shit back and forth. Oh, this, that. But with Deontay Wilder and Fury, they already know. They've been in the ring twice already. Dude, how long does it take to cut a bush? God damn. Yeah, like you're using tweezers and motherfucking damn Irish pennant scissors. Just cut the bush and move. Keep it moving, shouty. King Mitch in the building. What's good with you, boy? Come back. What up? What's good? Edward said July 24th, 31st or August 7th. I know, you know, he's in a circus, man. He's up there juggling motherfucking dates like he's the goddamn opening act, right, Mitch? You know what I'm saying? Eddie Hearn's up here just juggling dates like he's the opening act for the circus. Hey, people, welcome. We invite each and every one of you in to see the Barn and Bailey Edward Hearns Circus. We're juggling dates around, and we just want to treat it like the lottery. You just pick whatever date you want and follow that damn pen as I continue to juggle these dates around and play with your emotions. Go right ahead. Which one is it going to be? They're trying to sit up here and say, well, the litigation ain't out yet, so let me now put that shit to the 31st. Oh, shit. Yeah, the litigation's still in. Let me push this shit to August 7th. And we all know if it's in August, it'll be very tight to get two fights in for whoever, you know, Fury is planning on fighting twice this year. But the task at hand, people, is this. The task at hand is we haven't heard any conclusion. We haven't heard anything, y'all. Has court adjourned yet? We want to know if court has adjourned and the judge has rendered his or her final decision. That's all. We want to know, has the final decisions been rendered so we can pretty much move on and make some thumbnails that are official and not going off speculation. We have enough of that going around. All this speculation is just convoluting the motherfucking YouTube community when it comes to talking about these two individuals, Fury and Joshua. Telly Swift said Fury can't fight anyone until he fights Wilder. Hey, I've heard that, Mitch. I've heard that too from, you know, some people on his team. It's good Telly is speaking out about it. You know, she's throwing little tidbits out there for the fans. Telly Swift said Fury can't fight anyone. When I say anyone, can't fight anyone until he fights Wilder. Ugh. That shit right there is like a motherfucking a freshly sharpened dagger, goddammit. Fury can't fight anyone till he fight Wilder, goddammit. Telly Swift like, no, it ain't that easy. You're not going to just go up here and put that word out there and lie to the people. I need to tell y'all what's the real from the inside. Fury isn't fighting anyone until he fights Wilder. I've said it before, AJ and Fury has high potential to be a snooze fest. It does, bro. It has high potential to be a snooze fest from all angles. Why? Because we can always reflect back on how Fury first won the unified titles. That itself was Ambien in gestation. That was give me a cocktail and throw Ambien in there and drink it and take it to the head. That's what that fight was. It was methodical. It was strategic, but it was extremely boring. And you know, boxing is like that sometimes. That's what Tyson Fury gave us when he won the unified titles. That's what he gave us. And just so happened through all the scandal, he was able to go up here and pick up the belt in a rematch against Wilder. But we need retribution. We need closure. I say again, the Wilder fans, we need closure. The Wilder universe, the Bronze Bomber universe, we need closure. We need total, complete closure as what's going to happen next. We need closure on who's the best heavyweight in the world. Because I say this, and, you know, I pretty much go off me. But I will say it again. When you have an individual like Deontay Wilder who have heard so many voices and their criticism beyond the limits of being constructive, he sit here and soak this shit all in and heard how people say he can't do this and can't do that. But yet he has the calendar to tell you, this is what I did from the Olympics all the way up to the last time I defended my title. I'm certified, I'm official. When it comes down to understanding that, right? If you're going to criticize Deontay Wilder for having one trick, how can the one trick have so much value to that diamond, that one trick diamond, right? How can it have so much value and shine to it to place Tyson Fury on a magazine of Fight of the Year? How in the hell does that happen, people? Explain to me how you can take a diamond of no value and sell it for $2 million. If the man did not have any significant value to the sport of boxing, how in his first defeat, how is Tyson Fury able to benefit off of it and be a co-op for Fight of the Year of someone who they was calling a boxer who doesn't have boxing skills? He's just a puncher. That's all he is, a puncher. But yet now they're talking about how certain other individuals are doing the exact same thing Wilder's doing. F.A. Jogba knocks out his last opponent, just as Deontay Wilder has done many of his opponents, and people are ranting and raving. Oh God, F.A. Jogba, the power he possesses is just phenomenal. People, run, run, run. This guy is dangerous. I'm saying to myself, his opponent was just standing there. Did he not give you a 1-2? Seriously, though, did he not give you a 1-2? Did F.A. Jogba not provide you with the 1-2? Why am I seeing individuals use a 1-2 and then they act like they never seen it before? It's just unfucking believable. It's unacceptable, first of all. But it's unbelievable how you had somebody that was giving you the 1-2 blaster. Lights out. Cloudcaster. Wake up in the morning 3 days later. Top of right hand. And people up here, you know, looking at some of these knockouts in boxing. And they're saying, wow. As if they never even seen it in motion before. Oh, my fault. So you saying basically a fighter needs to box first and work himself up to the knockout to beautify it, make it look all pretty. Put that makeup, dress it up real nice, and then land the shot so it can look good on camera. That's what we're talking about. Because I'm just curious. Like I want to challenge Fury to step in there with a trilogy versus Deontay Wilder and emulate what you was able to do in the rematch. Prove to us that you that dominant fighter right now. Prove to us that somehow, some way you have found out what you needed to improve in. Somehow master it in a short period of time for you to have this possessive power. For you to be that scary of a boxer. Just prove it. That's all we want you to do. Step back in there with Deontay Wilder. And we really, to be honest, as much as I want to say that we don't care about the haters, we do. We do, because I think when Deontay Wilder returns back to the ring and faces Tyson Fury and stops him, right? When it comes down to certain individuals that's in college right now, and they might be on their last semester or last couple of credits for being a doctor. Indeed, after this Tyson Fury trilogy and Deontay Wilder stops him, they will indeed be employed. It will be a rush. It will be unlike you ever seen before, because more people will need life coaches and doctors. Because these Fury fans and some of the media segues on YouTube, they're not going to know what to talk about. Oh, he just got lucky. Oh, Deontay got lucky. See, I told you that power never goes away. He got lucky. No, don't talk about no motherfucking luck. I don't want to hear nothing about no luck now. I'm just saying, all those therapists and doctors and all these physicians, life coaches, you're going to be employed. All we need is to get this fight to be official. Wilder goes in there and complete the mission. And YouTube, in my opinion, will be a much more healthy, a much more productive social media platform that consists of maybe about 4 to 6 weeks of solace. We're going to have solace in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have individuals goddamn forced to bow down. We're going to have them up here putting up thumbnails. You know what? I was wrong. I really want to go over there to World Combat Sports and apologize for just being a complete, absolute hating ass. But I just don't want to do it. I don't want to give him the views, because he don't have any views. I don't want to give him the views. Every time I hear that shit is hilarious, dog. I just laugh, man. I pick and choose when I come with this motherfucker, dog. Bitch say motherfuckers holding on to one to see undisputed. Fucking hilarious to me, though. Last time I checked, Ramirez and Taylor have a date and venue signed and sealed for next month. Yet chumps barely discuss. Yeah, they barely discuss it, man. Because in boxing, it's a disloyal sport. You have an undisputed. I mean, even that. Let's just say this, Mitch. You have Taylor Ramirez, and also you have Castano and Charlo that's on the come up. It's pending. It's a lot that's going on, but yet and still, a lot of segue, a lot of media outlets out here, they're gonna just boost up Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is not even close to first of all, he's not even close to being undisputed right now. He still have BJS, and after that, he has to be in a position where Caleb Plant confirms his attendance to be there to fight Canelo Alvarez. It may not go as smooth as Canelo wants at the end of the day. He might have to take, some type of compromise to get in there with Caleb Plant. I'm just saying, when it comes down to undisputed fights that's going on right now, you do have two close undisputed fights. When I talk about close, I'm talking about the belts are in possession. And once the fight happens, it's going to be absolutely undisputed. And that is, Jose Ramirez, no franchise belt. All right. There's no franchise involved. Let me make that clear too. You have Ramirez and Taylor, boom, 140. And then you have at 154, you have Charlo and Castano. That shit is close. Charlo is a unified champion. Castano holds the WBO. That shit is close, bro. That shit is damn close. Ramirez Taylor, that is close, but nobody is really chattering about it. They're not chattering about it. They're really talk about their idol, their mentor, an individual that they choose to live vicariously through by posting thumbnails so they can go back when they click on the YouTube channel and go to videos. They say, oh, there you go, Joshua. I just wanted to take a look at you before I head off to work. Oh, you're so gorgeous, Joshua. I just want a six-pack like you, Joshua. I want to be physically built like you, Joshua. How can I be? They over there living vicariously through Joshua. Just talk to me. Tell me, Joshua. Just tell me, how can I be you? I have a poster. I have all that. They just be going through the whole ring. They be sending Eddie Hearns DMs. Eddie, how you doing, mate? Can you send me a little poster in the mail? I'll give you my P.O. box, Eddie. Can you please not fold it? I just don't want any creases in the poster. I want it to look as authentic as possible, Eddie. And I want that poster to be his real, true height. They're infatuated. They're infatuated with Joshua for the wrong reasons. They are truly infatuated with this man. It's so infatuated that you have fighters in the U.S., they're just supporting Joshua just so they can, first of all, get views. And second of all, just so they can have topics to talk about. Because look, it takes real hardcore Deontay Wilder fans to go through the storm and take the criticism and what people are sending, right? And then you have the roaches and cowards that choose to be in that position of turning their back on the U.S. champion. And then they're turning around and act like they've been supporting Joshua since day one. It's like they've been on Joshua's side since the damn Olympics, which is absolutely cowardice. It's a cowardice act in itself. Real. That shit is absolutely cowardice, bro. They just talking just because they can get more people to join them in a conversation of the more popular fighters. You have U.S. fighters that are jumping on the Canelo bandwagon who wasn't on the Canelo bandwagon before. You have fighters jumping on Anthony Joshua bandwagon who wasn't there before. Tyson Fury, the same way. It's an embarrassment to boxing media. They can't say that about me because I don't bandwagon ride. Just because I'll support a fight out of respect for a little bit. Now, once you fuck that up, it's done. I'm supporting who I choose to. And it's not bandwagon riders. It's boxers who I've been rocking with for a while. These suckers discuss Wilder more than super lightweight undisputed. Oh my God, dog. They love Wilder. For real, man. Wilder up there saying, like, why these motherfuckers keep my name out they mouth, dog? Why am I on your tongue so much? You can't go in there and take a shit without goddamn being on your phone texting some shit on IG or Twitter. Wilder. Oh God. We don't have to talk about him because Fury and Joshua's on deck. Fuck Wilder. Yeah. I mean, they can't even go to sleep at night without sending out at least about 5 solid texts. Hey, Eddie Hearns say the site fee is $185 trillion. This is going to be the biggest boxing match. This is going to take over Floyd Mayweather's highest paid bout with Manny Pacquiao ever on PPV. It's 180 trillion. Eddie Hearns just signed another $1 billion deal. People, this is amazing. It kind of takes us back to when infamous Eddie Hearns signed that $1 billion to Zone. And where did that go? That shit didn't go hardly anywhere. Now he signs another deal which separates him from Sky Sports. Okay. Okay, Shouty. We hear you. Look, can Eddie Hearn ever complete a deal that's higher than 1 billion? And if it is 1 billion in its totality, can we see some paperwork? I mean, come on, man. We don't want to see the shit that you came over here and your name was on the contract and Josh was talking about he's signing a contract for Deontay Wilder. That shit had your name on it and people question you and say, well, Eddie Hearn, why was your name on it, mate? What was your name on the contract if you're saying that Anthony Joshua was signing the contract for Deontay Wilder, but in further review, your name was on the contract? Well, the reason why I can do that is because I'm Eddie Hearns, first and foremost. And then second of all, I own Anthony Joshua. I own him, okay? And do that answer your question, Mike? Get out of here with your bloody questions. Can he sign off on a deal that's more than 1 billion? And is it contingent just like the DAZN deal was? I mean, are you getting flat money, bro? I mean, what are we looking at? Deshaun Thompson in the building. What's good? Roy Jones Mayweather. Backpack. Roy Jones Mayweather. What does that mean? What is I don't know what all that means. You have to be a bit more clear. I can't sit up here and figure out trivia questions. Roy Jones Mayweather. What does that say? What does that say exactly? I need more clarification. Please elucidate, please. Clarify. Define. Help me understand what you're saying. Just speak. Just type clearly. Use your syllables and vowels, and we'll be A-OK. All right? I don't know what all that means. But back to the situation at hand. While a lot of people just look at boxing and take it for a joke, is that YouTube consider themselves to be some type of boxing community, which is far from it. There's no such thing as a boxing community in YouTube. Because in order for you to be a community, you have to have similar or somewhat a format that provides a healthy structure for the sport. It has to be productive. It has to be productive enough for it to continue to grow, right? You can't be on YouTube talking about your boxing community and it's no real protocol or structure or format to your reporting. Just because you come in here and put up thumbnails and talk about boxing doesn't mean you're a boxing community, because certain people, they're way off on talking about solid, solidified, official, validated content. A lot of this is speculation, and some of it is, real time. It's validated content. But across the board, when it comes to the repeating yourself as being a boxing community, the structure isn't the same. Like, what are y'all structured under when it comes to the boxing community on YouTube? Having a bunch of people together doesn't mean anything, because a lot of the time the conversations and topics are not about boxing. They're about strange, weird, awkward, long drawn out dialogues, which in my opinion, men shouldn't be having amongst men. But hey, to each his own. Don't let me get you confused when you're already dizzy. You know what I'm saying? Who am I to sit up here and hear people talking about dicks and everything else. Who am I to sit up here and tell you that shit is way off the scale of my interpretation and my support? You know what I'm saying? Who am I? I'm good where I'm at on the outside looking in. And that's why a lot of people always just look at us out here on this YouTube shit, unless you do something more than the mic. They'll look at you in a way and say, man, that YouTube shit is a joke. Some channels have influence, real talk. But a lot of channels, when it comes to this boxing shit, it's just very biased, influential, narrative pushing type of channels. That's all. And then, just because you have more than one person, which is considered a group, doesn't mean the topic is productive to a community-based format. The acronym sounds great, but it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as the YTBC. It don't exist. Motherfuckers are not on here talking about boxing like it should be, as a structure, as a community, as a unit. So therefore, just use it as a platform to just go ahead and say, well, I'm talking about this topic today. If it's boxing, it's boxing. If it's not, it's not. You know what I'm saying? You got some people talking about people personal shit. I mean, that's not fucking boxing, y'all. Anyway, back to my boy Wilder. We need to make sure this shit happen. Period. Let me see if okay, so this guy never returned, So I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm not gonna touch it. Since you wouldn't clarify for me. So it's all good. I fuck with Hearn. I just know he's full of shit. He's somewhat good for the game. At least he would pay fighters and put them on cards. All right, so you fuck with somebody that's full of shit. It's a bit confusing. Outside of happy hour and 3 or 4 cocktails already. Seriously, I mean, that's a little bit confusing. I mean, I really don't fuck with people that's full of shit. And then again, I think all of us may have fucked with somebody that's full of shit. I mean, I can't all the way rock away from what you're talking about. Because yes, we do have people that we know, man, so-and-so just talking shit, man. I fuck with them though. I fuck with them. But man, they talking shit, man. That shit ain't real they talking about. They just talking shit, dog. We got those people in the group. Absolutely, we have them. They'll tell you some shit, man. Oh, like this dude in the barbershop. Like this motherfucker. Every time you see, he said, man, I ain't worried about nothing, man. They say what they want to say. But I got 30 bands on me right now. That's how I'm getting money in the street. And he don't know he done said that shit 10, 15 other times when he was in the barbershop. I hold money. That's what I do. I got 30 bands on me now. I hold money. And he full of shit, but he's funny to be around because he truly believes that he's sitting on 30 bands. He truly believed that. That's his anthem every time. What's good? What's good? Everybody, hey, how you doing? Yeah, just out here getting this money. Man, we active out here. We active. Growing like a motherfucker. We doing what we got to do out here in the streets. Anyway, prime versus prime, Roy has an argument against anyone. But he got KO'd a few times and stuck around a bit too long for me to put him above Mayweather. Let me ask you this, Mitch. If you turn in on highlights, if you want to watch some boxing highlights, you're just chilling with whoever, you're watching boxing highlights, who would you turn on first? Who would you watch first? Who would you spin the reel first? Roy Jones or Floyd Mayweather? If you want to watch highlights. Boxing highlights. Would it be Roy Jones Jr. or will it be Floyd Mayweather? I'll tell you who I would turn on first. I definitely would turn on Roy Jones Jr. first. If I want to see some highlight reels in boxing and some incredible shit take place in front of my eyeballs, yes, I'm looking at Roy Jones Jr., real talk. I'm looking at Roy Jones Jr. I can tell you if I don't have no time in my hand and I just want to screw around and say, well, I don't have nothing else to do, man. Shit. It's no videos popping up Roy Jones Jr., Deontay Wilder, you know, and some other greats that I watch. I'm not gonna turn on Anthony Joshua shit. It's not happening. There's no way, no how I'm looking at. It's not a fight. And people say, "Oh man, you got to give him credit, man. He fought the Klitschko fight, and that's what we wanted to see." Man, that shit was a struggle. This nigga was all over the canvas. You know what I'm saying? He was all over the canvas, man. From a guy who'd been out several months. He had been out of the ring several months, selected by Anthony Joshua. I don't turn that shit on. What other fight am I looking at that I can say that, man, that was a hellified fight? What, you want me to say who again? You want me to see Alexander Povetkin, Kubrat Pulev, Carlos Takam, Eric Molina, Charles Martin? Who you want me to turn on as one of the best Anthony Joshua fights? You can't say Klitschko, who was already in retirement, because I ask people all the time, I say, who did he fight after Anthony Joshua? And then if he didn't fight anybody, that just proves my point that he was in retirement. He just came back. Anthony Joshua needed to sell out Wembley Stadium. So him and Eddie Hearn got together and said, you know what, mate? I have the perfect opponent for you, mate. I think if you want to do Wembley and we can get these numbers up, I can tell you right now, mate, we can just go out here and call up Vladimir Klitschko. And I seen a recent picture of him on social media. I don't think he's too overweight right now. And I don't think he's been in the local pubs drinking. Let's hit him up and see if he's, how long will it take for him to get in shape so we can throw this fight in Wembley Stadium, sell it out, and tell everybody, hey, Joshua, you know what I mean? Joshua's selling out seats in Wembley. You know what I mean? He's one of the top sellers. And Eddie Hearn is refusing to recognize who his dance partner was. His dance partner was Klitschko, who is the legend and the Hall of Famer, right? It was because of him that Joshua sold out Wembley. Why? Because the proven fact is that he's never been able to repeat that with any other name in boxing. He didn't do it with Alexander Povetkin after they gave that farce of a 2-fight deal. It didn't happen. He's incapable of selling out Wembley with a full live gate. Who is he going to fight? The only other way he can sell Wembley out with a full live gate is Deontay Wilder go over there and fight. He won't do that shit with Fury. It don't give you the suspense that you're looking for. You have 2 British fighters that's going over there, and they have the mouthpiece of Eddie Hearn saying that the fight has been made. You know who they really want to see. They want to see Wilder in a trilogy have the opportunity to get his belt back. Wilder get his belt back and go over there and face Joshua, then those numbers will go up. Because most of the people that sit in that arena, including Eddie Hearns, it's going to be goddamn, they butt cheeks are going to be puckered in. They're going to be biting on their motherfucking nails like it's goddamn taco salad. And they're going to be scared as shit. He said Mayweather never took risks to put him above Roy Jones. He did take risk. His risk may have limited, value to it. I understand what you're saying. But a lot of people say Roy Jones didn't take risk. He never fought a fighter equal or greater his skill set. That's what they said. But when you come to Floyd Mayweather, some people are going to say, yeah, he did fight people or boxers that was equal or greater than his skill set. They would talk about this, the 2 Castillo fights. You look at Castillo, you look at Chico, you look at Sugar Shane, The Marcus Chop Chop Corley. Look at that fight. It's so many fights that you look at and you say, oh, there was good fights, but were they equal? You know, Sugar Shane Mosley was one of the fighters that hurt him the worst. And then you got to factor in Marcus Maidana. But Marcus Maidana, the Argentinian OG, no one really gave him that chance of going in there defeating Floyd Mayweather. They just said, you know what, he's a solid fighter. Oh, what he did with AB, he might have a shining moment in here. And Floyd sucked that shit up, made the first fight, look a little bit easy, and was able to goddamn give Marcus Maidana a second one, a 2-for-1, and made it look even more easier. But as far as taking risk, yeah, he had some points in his career where he took risk. But as far as highlight reels, as far as putting on a show, not waiting on the pull counter, catch and shoot, the Mayweather defense, I think Roy Jones and his speed, his power, oh my God, it was just sick. Roy Jones did some crazy ass. I mean, some of the damn punching combinations they pulled off. How many times he would throw a hook in recession, dog. Once again, and you see how fast Roy Jones threw a hook? Y'all can't fuck with me. I'm body head all day. Can't be touched. You know what I'm saying? I try to tell them they think Roy Jones easy, but he ain't. Roy talked this shit, dog. Roy talked this motherfucking shit. I will look at Roy Jones easier, without a doubt. Hold on for a second. We back in the building. So that's my take on that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have to wise up a little bit. All the Fury and Joshua princes, all them princesses. The princesses is out there with their slippers on, waiting. They clicking their heels together. 1, 2, 3. Huh! Oh shit. Damn. They said follow the yellow brick road. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Do you have it there yet? Oh shit. These motherfuckers be logging in and out of box rec, looking to see if they click their heels together. 1, 2, 3, enter. Oh shit, they still don't have a schedule up there. God damn. Oh my God, man, I'm so frustrated. Shit. I bought these heels for nothing. Them Fury Joshua princesses. Them Fury Joshua princesses, man, they so irritated. They will log in and out of box rec, snap their fingers. Ta-da! Shit. Can somebody tell me, do anybody have an inside connection? Any way we can get Eddie Hearns on the phone? because he said that the site is locked on, and the site fee is going to be astronomical. Everybody's going to get paid. It's going to break numbers. It's going to do better than Floyd Mayweather's fight ever could have done in boxing history. Please, please, I'm hurting. Seriously, my sugar levels are different. My blood pressure's high. Somebody call Eddie Hearns and see can he just get box rec to show whenever the fight's gonna be. Is it gonna be July, August, October? Just I'm stressed out here. I'm stressed out. Just help me. Tell me something. Tell me something. That's all I want to know. And listen, that's what they doing out there, bro. They impatient and they just don't want to talk about it all the time. They seem like they're really, comfortable with being fairies like that. So who they talk about? They talk about Wilder. It's just a charade. Be honest, it's just a charade. They really want to talk about Wilder and good nature, but every time his name come up, he's not really talking to the community. He's chilling. He's doing what he got to do back in camp. Looking in tremendous shape. They can't say anything positive about him without them downing the man. So the conversation changed quickly. But then again, they know in their heart of hearts, the only shit they can talk about with Fury is, you know what? He stopped Deontay Wilder. And he's he's a rightful champion. He stopped him. But he stopped him and embroiled in controversy, just like he was embroiled in controversy when he won the unified titles with Klitschko. That's why he ran away from the sport. He absquatulated. He fled the scene. He aborted mission. Shakur Stevenson, aka Boxing's Emperor. It's a lot about Shakur Stevenson that's curious. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, Shakur. It seems like a lot happening on what I was afraid of. As much as I want to say, y'all remember when I said there's no need for me to say it, but I did mention it. I say my optimism about Shakur Stevenson is that they're going to slow him down somehow, some way. So right now he has a fight coming up, and he wins that fight, which they saying his opponent's supposed to be pretty tough, right? Pretty solid. He has more experience, more wins than Shakur Stevenson, and he definitely has more than half the amount of knockouts Shakur Stevenson has. All right, so he seems like a solid opposition for Stevenson. So Stevenson, if he's successful going in here defeating this guy, he would probably get Jamel Herring. If in fact Jamel Herring wants to fight Shakur Stevenson or vacate the belt, to fight in a bigger fight as far as paycheck goes with Oscar Valdez, right? But this is why I salute Shakur Stevenson. It's something different about this cat. It seemed like they slowing him down just a little bit. I hope it's not for a long term for him to continue to stack on divisions to his resume. But Shakur Stevenson said some shit. I'll say, damn, this cat is becoming a freaking savage when it comes to calling people out. He said he will welcome Emmanuel Navarrete up to 130 if he chooses to. He'll love to fight him. Stevenson is calling out all the big names. He's calling out all the big names, man. He wants enough of the smoke at 130. He wanted Valdez. You know what I'm saying? He wants Herring. He wants all that. And also he sent out the Hallmark card to the doorstep of Emmanuel Navarrete, who's coming off a superb victory, knocking down Diaz 4 times in a fight. He welcomes him. He said, I'll fight him. And a lot of people saying, man, that'd be a tough fight. That'd be a tough fight for Shakur. And that's where you got to commend him for even mentioning Navarrete's name. That's a tough fight. But he's one of the ones calling out damn near everybody. And really, truly, I believe he wants those fights. He wants the Oscar Valdez. You know what I'm saying? He wants the Jamel Harris. It's only a matter of time before Shakur Stevenson is champion at 130. It's only a matter of time. Real talk. It's only a matter of time. Whether he's there to unify on to being undisputed, that is a huge question mark. But I truly believe him when he says that the names that he's calling out, he wants to fight them. And anybody and everybody knows that him fighting Navarrete would be a tough fight for Stevenson. But just the fact that him coming off that win and Stevenson like, okay, I would like to fight him if he's willing to come up to 130. I'll fight him. Then what about Oscar Valdez? That's a tough fight for Stevenson also. I believe Stevenson is a better boxer than Valdez, but Valdez is an extremely tough fighter. He's been on the big stage already more than one time. But if Oscar Valdez chooses to face Jamel Herring, then so be it. I mean, Chris Stevens just going to have to wait in line when it comes down to it. But I really hope he's able to get a big name like Shakur Stevens, Gervonta Davis. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But that would be a big fight. They're on two different sides of the path. But that'll be a damn good fight. Would Gervonta even consider defending his belt down there against Shakur Stevenson? I don't see it happening. Real talk. I don't see it fucking happening, man. I think Floyd Mayweather, when it comes down to it, he know that's a fight where, you know, both fighters can box. But obviously Gervonta Davis has the more power. The most power. But at the end of the day, it's a sweet science in this boxing. That's what it is. What else? What else is out there? My fault. Somehow I dropped off. Somehow. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Hold up. Okay, cool. But they were saying Belanga Nicholson did 803,000 views more than the main event, Navarrete Diaz. And I could see it because even though Navarrete is going in there performing and he's official. I like Navarrete as a boxer, all that. You know, people sometimes adapt to the culture, especially when you're talking about a fighter like Edgar Berlanga that people can place with the culture. They see him as being cool, someone they want to be a part of, know what he has going on. He has his own little, coolness about him, swagger as they used to call it. He has his own type of, rhythm and motion, so to speak. He's not a boring fighter to watch. He's not a boring fighter. But I just want to give a warm thank you to Edgar Berlanga because I made a crazy bet on Berlanga. Because you have these individuals that have deep pocketbooks and heavy wallets, and they tend to want to freaking make crazy bets outside what they perceive is your pay grade. So my bet was Edgar Berlanga goes the distance with this guy. I'm looking at Calvin Ford fighter. I'm looking at Berlanga. I'm looking at, the fighter, the last fighter that he fought. I'm just putting all the damn variables together. I'm not saying these motherfuckers are solid. Just putting all the shit together. I said, instinctively, I feel that Berlanga will go the distance. It was a partial bet that started off. Will Nicholson make it out of the first round? That was the initial. And then it ballooned into something all crazy. People, them, thinking with their motherfucking intoxication and all that, and just talking reckless. I can't say they are casual to the boxing game. They know these are people that that's been around some pretty big time cards. But I brought up the notion that I believe Edgar Berlanga is going to distance this fight. He's down there in Florida. He has a lot of people, and sometimes when you have a lot of people on deck, it's an adrenaline dump. It's sometimes you don't perform to the best of your ability when you have that many people on deck in a big fight like that. Why I say it was a big fight for Berlanga? Because he was 16-0, 16 knockouts. The pressure is building. Pressure bursts pipes. And I say, God damn it, this is a lot of pressure for Berlanga to come in there and perform. And though people are like, oh man, we want to see what he looked like getting out of the first round. Nah, you want to see him go in there and get a knockout again. And I was saying to myself, I don't think it's going to happen. I got the receipts, bro. But I appreciate you Berlanga. I appreciate you going the distance. I appreciate you. I really do. And there was some scary moments in there now. But I appreciate you going the distance, man. Because that was a hell of a hard bet. And it only confirms the risk taking that I'm willing to do sometime on certain bets. Even have the track record over here on YouTube. It's pretty cool. Outside of everything else. But people, you know what it is. You know what it is. Let me check this out right quick before I go. Oh yeah. This was on the tip of my tongue. This is what I wanted to talk to y'all about. So Leonard Ellaby is saying that Floyd Mayweather is going to put on this incredible card. Of course, he's linking up and attempting to extract some of the pay-per-view viewership from Triller at his age. I'm OG in the game. You can't take it away from Floyd. He's an OG in the game, period. But what Floyd's trying to do is, the same thing he did with Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. So he's trying to, once again, reassign the fight date between him and Logan Paul. Now, the crazy part about this whole situation that Eddie Hearn is criticizing something he has done in the past. Eddie Hearn had Logan Paul on there, but he was going against somebody that's not even a boxer. Now you're criticizing Floyd Mayweather because you wasn't capable of sustaining that structure of having these YouTube sensations or personality or influences on your network like Triller is doing. You wasn't capable of sustaining that. So now you have another promotion that's pretty much making, from what they saying, they're earning solid numbers off a fight format that you had on the zone, right? So now Eddie Hearns is saying some shit like the Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul is shit. It's bullshit. And I'm saying to myself, like, you're talking to a guy who knows how to make money with fight cards. You're talking about a guy who's sitting at the top in the top 5 PPV buyers, PPV buys ever, the most sold ever in the sport of boxing. So when it comes to him fighting Logan Paul, it doesn't generate the buzz like his brother Jake Paul. It just don't give you that buzz that you're looking for, because we all know that Jake Paul is the better fighter, because I can't call them boxers now, the better fighter, okay, than his brother Logan Paul. Even though Logan is the older brother, Jake is the better fighter than Logan. Some of the stipulations Floyd has put in there that he cannot be any larger than 160. And Logan Paul cannot be, his weight cannot exceed 190. So those are a couple of restrictions that is placed on this fight. Now, the bigger part of it is the price of the PPV and who's going to be the undercard. That's the bigger deal, because Floyd is going to have to cushion the undercard enough for people to say, you know what, in order for me to buy and look at Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul, opposite of Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos, your undercard has to be fire. That shit has to be a temperature that exceeds what Triller is trying to put on. And I'm saying to myself, as stingy as Floyd Mayweather is, I'm curious to see how they're going to pull this off. I know he's close to Al Heyman, and they really, from what I'm hearing behind the scenes, Floyd is going to put on an amazing fight. Seriously, that's what I'm hearing behind the scenes. But will it be able to compete with Triller down there in Florida too? Down there in Florida against Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos, hosted on Triller. I know a lot of people are talking about, the commentary and how Oscar De La Hoya was, and people was fucked up on there, and it was the Wild Wild West. It was a damn circus and all this. But listen, in order for you to call it a circus, that means you watched it, right? You watched the circus. Not only did you watch the fights, you watched the performances too. The ones that was pre-recorded and the ones that was live. You watched it. So now you have to turn around and look at how South Beach is going to be popping. And you got to say to yourself, am I going to tune in to Floyd Mayweather, who is 42, 43 years old? He's fighting Logan Paul, who isn't a boxer. He hasn't even won a single professional boxing fight, a boxing bout. Or are you going to look at a true boxing bout and the undisputed title holder going in there against George Kambosos, his IBF mandatory. That is the question you have to ask yourself, Charlie. Are you willing to commit to real? Just because Florida then don't make it a real boxing bout, okay? Are you gonna commit to Triller hosting a true legitimate championship bout? Or are you just gonna tune in for somewhat a similar exhibition, somewhat type of sort of kind of boxing bout with a catch weight and all this shit? This is not a legitimate boxing match, people. Would we have that under the sanctioning body over here? Like, we're not talking about Sugar Ray Leonard and Dunley Lennon. We're not talking about when Sugar Ray came up from 160 to 68 and Dunley Lennon dropped from 75 to 68. They still fought the same weight. In this case right here, Floyd Mayweather is saying that he will be 160 and Logan to be at 190. Logan has to come down to 190. I don't know about you, but let me count my fingers and see. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many pounds is that between though? How many pounds is that in between? That's about 30, 30, 30, right? So you're talking about a 30-pound difference? Incredible. That's incredible right there. To answer your question from early, I put on Mayweather highlights. Roy's style was more exciting, and he may have had more KOs and power and sheer flash. Me personally, I'm watching Floyd though. Okay, for sure. You know, I respect that. I would turn on a Floyd freaking highlight after I watch Roy Jones. Two different styles of fighters. You know what I'm saying? Two different styles of fighters. But I will watch a Floyd Mayweather highlight after I finish, watching Roy Jones throw 10 hooks in under 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would definitely cut that shit off, dog. Real talk. I'll definitely cut that on, man. Seriously. But what are y'all gonna look at? When it comes down to it, what are y'all willing to look at? Are you gonna check out Floyd and Paul? You can't sit up here and criticize the Triller shit just because Jake Paul is taking all the shine for some of y'all. He's taking all this shine and all this, and he's bad for boxing. But then you turn around and you say to yourself, fuck Teofimo Lopez or George Kambosos on Triller. I'm watching Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul, and I'm saying to myself, damn, you fall off to the left. Make up your fucking mind. You want to dish Triller all together when they having a certified legitimate boxing match? But now you want to say, I'm going to tune in to Floyd because he's one of the all-times, even though they have a 30-pound gap in between them, and it's more so an exhibition. Just because it's Floyd Mayweather, you say he gets the prize, he gets the waiver, he gets an exemption. Y'all going to have to clean that shit up. That's why I'm saying there's no such thing as a YTBC. Because you're going to have cats over here boosting this Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul fight up, but yet they over here complaining and whining, talking about Jake Paul is ruining boxing. So Jake Paul fighting MMA guys is more for you to say, oh, that's fucked up. But yet the same promotion will be hosting Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos, who is legitimate boxers. And the Teofimo haters will be like, nah, I'm going over here to the Floyd fight. I'm gonna watch him. You can't do that. It's not legit. It's not even official. It doesn't even fall within the format from which you see boxing matches under the sanction rules and regulation. It's not even nowhere close. 30 pounds? That's not cool. That's not cool. Real talk. That's not cool. 30 pounds though? 30 fucking pounds? 30 pounds. And y'all would sacrifice looking at Floyd Mayweather's fight when he's fighting a bubblegum rapper rather than tuning in to Triller just because you want to be mad Teofimo's fighting on Triller and not one of your favorite promotions in Top Rank. You got to make up your mind. That shit is sounding you looking crazy out here. Those of you that's going to do that shit. Watch. You're looking crazy. Either you for boxing or you're not. You can't fuck around and say, oh, I hate Jake Paul and what he's doing, but yet support Logan Paul for fighting freaking Floyd Mayweather. You cannot do that, y'all. I'm asking that you don't go that route. Support the boxing match. A boxing match, if you're a hardcore fan, is not 60 to 90. He can't be higher than 190. I can be higher than 160. That's the way it goes. Catch weights. I mean, come on, bro. No, you can't do that. Because when Kambosos and Lopez weigh in, it's going to be at the 135-pound limit. That's all I'm saying. Which one do you want? I've seen Roy Jones throw 4 consecutive hooks. Very impressive to watch. Mayweather doesn't get me off my seat. Man, Roy, he's thrown way more than 4 in recession. It might have just, you need to slow that shit down because that shit was so fast. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for real. Floyd is somewhat nostalgic because I lived through his era. I was really young during Roy Jones' era, even though there's some overlap. Roy was fucking incredible, though. Athletic phenom, to say the least. He was, man. It was incredible. He was innately gifted in his skill set and how he was able to have that speed, how his defense was different back then. You know what I'm saying? He used his legs a lot. Now that he's older and his legs are not as strong and mobile as they used to, yeah, he was being hit. I mean, people have to understand, like, when you downplay a boxer just because they was knocked out, and that's one of the only fights you remember, you have to remember him and Antonio Tarver fought 3 times. Roy Jones lost a decision after he was knocked out to Antonio Tarver. So Antonio Tarver put him to sleep, and they went in for a 3rd one, and he went the distance. People have to understand that. Yeah, he was knocked out cold, but he went the distance in their trilogy. But he lost via decision. It's all preference, though. I will not argue against Roy, especially in the highlight tip. Dude was amazing. I feel you on that. Mayweather got nothing on Roy. Whitaker is the greatest defensive fighter of all time. Okay, the key word, defensive. You know what I'm saying? I love seeing Sweet Pea defensive, his magician type skills. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was a master craftsman at being elusive. But sometimes Sweet Pea just didn't put enough offense to that defense. When he finished painting that canvas with all those elusive matrix type moves and avoiding those shots, it would have been great if he would have, delegated some punching combinations. You know what I'm saying? To tighten that up, to complement it. It would have been great to see that. Like most of the time, yeah, he'll elude all those shots and then he'll dance around a little bit. So therefore, you basically telling the judges none of those shots landed. But the Sweet Pea, some of the time, he didn't score. He didn't take full advantage of avoiding those shots to deliver some shots. I think defense looks very beautiful if you're able to elude a shot and give a shot. You know what I'm saying? But good shit, though. Good shit, though. Real talk. Good shit. Floyd was just on some real classic Sweet Sign shit. Absolutely, I agree. Floyd Mayweather, when you think of his skill set, Floyd Mayweather skill set is on some sweet signs. Real talk. The way he catch and shoot, Floyd do the same shit that Philly shell or the Mayweather defense, however he wants to call it. He made it look easy. We found out through other various fighters that it's not that easy. They come out there with they look the part. You know what I'm saying? They got the look down. They have the mannerisms down. But once the punches start to come in, once it's incoming, they're not capable of defending like Floyd Mayweather. It can be one or two things. They're not physically gifted like Floyd Mayweather when it comes to his boxing IQ, to see the shots and to read them and to avoid them. And then the second of all, it just comes down to it looks easier than it actually is to execute. You can get into you can put yourself into the position, but what do you do next outside of that? Are you maintaining the visual to see the shots coming? So not only do you have to get in position, but you have to have that fluidity like Floyd Mayweather, the rhythm that he was in. You have to be able to avoid the shots, and also, Floyd was able to execute and return and counter within that Mayweather defense. Just like talking about Whitaker, Floyd Mayweather, when he avoids shots, he's definitely going to return and give you that, the 1-2-3 punch combination. He'll give you an uppercut on the inside, that short, quick uppercut. Sometimes he give you that right uppercut on the inside. Sweet Pea, he can dance around in the middle of the ring. And then what? He make his opponent miss, and he dance around, and I'm like, your opponent didn't score, but neither did you. That's my only thing. Shout out, rest in peace to Sweet Pea. Shout out, rest in peace to Sweet Pea. You know what I'm saying? It's just motherfucking media. That's all. It's just media talk. That's all we doing. That's all we doing, Shawty, for sure. That's all we doing. Ruiz and Areola is coming up for those of you that's going to that fight. But shout out to the Adorno brothers. They was in some tough fights. Please work on your defense. Josue Vargas, very good fight, man. Ortiz was game. I think that's his second draw in a row. Hey, you know how it is when they say, when they give you that sweet science label, you got to switch it up now. And Vargas was switching it up. He's trying to land the counter shots, and for a time they was working. He was able to get some counts. He was able to knock down Ortiz. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes down to him having two draws back to back, it's gonna get tougher and tougher from there, man. I know a lot of people talking for a potential rematch between Vargas and Ortiz. But give it up to Vargas for implementing sweet science, man. Being a counter puncher in that fight, showing different threads to his boxing repertoire. Shout out to him. Shout out to Xander Zayas, even though he was a bit wild in my opinion. And he did get touched up just a little bit. He still got the win, but he has work to do. Belanga has work to do also. But it was entertaining watching him fight. And shout out to Demond Nicholson being knocked down like 4 times and still finishing the fight. It was some times in there I thought it was over for him. I said, this dude's not gonna last. It's just too much. And then, every time I saw Belanga slide that right foot back and he's about to throw that, I said, okay. Defense. Boom. He slipped some of them, some of them hit him. But Belanga needs to work on that. They need to get Thug Rose coach. The way Thug Rose move around on her feet, you don't know what she's about to do. Berlanga needs the box and become light on his feet instead of just being a flat-footed fighter, loading up the motherfucking ammo shells to land that damn big shot. He need to be fully automatic. That's all. Berlanga, if you get him fully automatic, he already has the damn power. His calibration is great. Berlanga has the power. That's not going anywhere. He's a young lion. All he needs now is the FA. He needs to become fully automatic with his damn punching combinations, become light on his feet. Once he pulled the trigger, he's able to let off, a volume of punches along with that power. That's going to take a little bit more work. He needs to get with Kamaru Usman, freaking Trevor. He needs to get with Trevor Weidman. He needs to get with motherfucking the coach for Thug Rose and work on his footwork. I'm telling you, you put footwork in there, and then also, you tighten up his combinations while he's light on his feet. Edgar Berlanga's be dangerous. This motherfucker be stupid. Right now, he's just too flat-footed, in my opinion. Sweet Pea was great. That's all. They didn't witness it. They're just young. Oh yeah, that was just on. He pot shot it, but nobody was able to crack the code. Couldn't really touch his body, walk him down effectively. You had to respect the pot shots. Yeah, absolutely. Sweet Pea. Shout out to Sweet Pea, man. Real talk. I'm not sure there's any. I can't compare him defensive wise. Who can I compare him to right now in the game that has defense like that? Yeah, you're right. Wilker was close quarters while he was, being elusive and defensively, evasive. You're right. But when it comes down to him returning fire, like shoot some uppercuts, this is a perfect example. This is a crazy example, right? I gotta go to my boy Prince Nassim, right? How close he used to be to his opponents. And sometimes he was able to avoid with some and generate power off those big ass calves he had and hit his opponent with an uppercut or straight. I mean, you never knew when it was coming. If that motion, that side lateral motion, his rhythm that he used to get into, if he was able to fire off like an uppercut or a straight or even a hook in the midst of eluding punches from his opposition, oh man, it would have been sick. His shit would have been sick. But most, like I said before, like, yeah, he'd be close quarters. He'd be close and he'd definitely dance around those shots. And he was a magician. No doubt about it. But it would have been great if he's able to send some combinations with that. That would frustrate his opponent. His opponent come back and try to load up on some shots and make Sweet Pea look that much better because now he know what's coming. He know what they're trying to do. They're trying to go for the knockout. They're trying to go for a headshot. And that's the wrong thing you do with Sweet Pea. Shit, Sweet Pea motherfucker was a goddamn dancer up in that motherfucker, dog. Then Floyd tell Triple G he could not make 160. And man, he was too big to fight him. I see now fighting Logan Paul, who walks around at 200 pounds. I mean, Logan Paul can walk around 200 pounds, but last time I checked, fighters drop 10 pounds easy. Errol Spence said he was around 185, close to 190, and he drops down to 147. So if Logan Paul is walking around at 200 pounds and all he has to do is drop a dime, that's easy. That's easy work. Juan Martinez, what's good? Say, Teo. We comparing Logan Paul to prime Triple G. Yeah, hey, this is what I would say with that, Mitch. There's no comparison, first of all. Second of all, Floyd Mayweather should have reservations about moving up to 160 to face Triple G than he would with Logan Paul at 190. Logan Paul is not going to present anywhere close to the danger, you know what I'm saying? Or, that Triple G will present it that way. The problems that he would get if he was stepping up with Triple G at 160 versus Logan Paul at 190. You know what I'm saying? The whole layout is different. The operation will be different. The plan of attack will be different for Floyd Mayweather because Triple G, as much as I do not advocate for him, he will be a problem for Floyd stepping up that 160 right now. Even at his age. I'm talking about Triple G. Floyd being his age, we know, but even the Triple G, he'll still be a problem for Floyd because, Floyd can box and he probably will make Triple G miss a little bit, but I'm pretty sure Triple G will be able to touch Floyd up sooner or later. Do you have a reasonable, sensible question? Come on. Logan Paul, though. Hey, man, when it comes down to it, Logan Paul does not present the same identical threat as Triple G. We know that. We know that for sure. We know that for sure. It's just a dangerous fight for him to move up for a legitimate. We always have to put into play, right? A legitimate boxer is Gennady Golovkin. A marginal subpar fighter is Logan Paul. Floyd Mayweather is the elite of elites when it comes to boxing. So him stepping up to fight somebody off the playground and behind the keyboard and mic in Logan Paul, I don't think Floyd Mayweather is really concerned. You know why? Because he's fought an MMA fighter that had 0 professional boxing matches. 0, y'all. 0. They had 2 championships. I'm talking about world championship belts at the time that Floyd Mayweather took him on in the boxing ring. 2, he was a 2-weight champion, active 2-weight champion, featherweight and lightweight. And Floyd Mayweather signed to fight this dude. Knocking dudes out. Logan Paul ain't knocking nothing out. He ain't knocking leaves off the tree. He ain't knocking butterflies out the damn sky. He ain't doing none of that shit. At least Conor McGregor was knocking dudes out when Floyd Mayweather freaking signed to fight him. He was knocking motherfuckers out. So I'm pretty sure he's comfortable with saying that he ain't scared of no motherfucking Logan Paul. That shit is crazy. He ain't scared of no Logan Paul. But I'm curious to see how many segues on here are going to speak about Floyd Mayweather more than they are Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos, who are legitimate lightweight boxers. Legitimate. Both of them guys have earned their position to fight this boxing match. It just so happened it's outside the usual format of being on ESPN or, promoted by, the mainstream promoters. It's going to be on Triller. It's going to be per the Triller app. So the format, is scrambled a little bit. And especially coming off this fight with Jake Paul and Ben Askren, people might try to diss, Teofimo Lopez for going on there with a promotion that has had some legitimate, solid boxing matches. The undercards especially the undercard. You just can't talk about Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. We can't do that. But that was 2-minute rounds. We can't do that. We have to kind of put in perspective that this is a catch weight, 30 pounds in between this motherfucker. 30 pounds in between. I'm pretty sure Floyd is gonna, he's gonna have a say-so in the gloves. He's gonna have everything. Everything's gonna be the way Floyd wants it. If Floyd wants Logan Paul to wear ankle weights out to the ring, that's what he's gonna wear. Seriously. Floyd is saying, I'm giving you the opportunity. You ain't giving me shit. I'm providing you the opportunity. So therefore, you're gonna have to abide by my rules and what I want to happen. Just make sure you show up on weight, and we're gonna give the fans a show. Now, Floyd, if you're listening, don't fuck around and let Logan Paul knock your ass out. Don't do that. Don't allow these Paul brothers to have that type of momentum. You already seen DC walk up and check Jake Paul and let him know, say, keep my name out your motherfucking mouth. I'll fuck you up for real. And I believe it. DC will fuck Jake Paul ass up, dog. Jake Paul knows that. I told you, if it's one fight I want to interview in mixed martial arts, it's DC. Him walking up there, damn, checking Jake Paul, that shit was priceless. Because Jake Paul tried to act like when his security was coming, he was gonna try to get all bad. Listen, forget all those people that you had talking shit to Tyron Woodley back there, J Love and all them dudes. Flores wasn't saying too much, okay? All them other dudes that was talking. Forget about that, because Tyron Woodley, he's official too now. But Logan Paul, I'm telling you, sometimes you go to the well too many times with great fighters. They just want to keep on making money and keep on making money. We don't need for these Paul brothers to touch up one of our significant champs in the sport of boxing of this era. If you want to talk about fucking up the sport, you want to talk about people on here crying, allow Logan Paul to land a lucky shot on Floyd Mayweather and hurt him. Just let him hurt him. Allow Logan Paul to get off on Floyd Mayweather. You're going to have the Paul brothers on the front of the magazine. They're going to have him on ESPN and Stephen A asking them a crazy ass question. So tell me, where did all this come from? Because I'm saying, I'm going to be honest with you now. I mean, I was betting against you. But since you touched my boy Floyd Mayweather up, you all might be legitimate boxers. You might be certified. I just want you to tell me, how did all this come to fruition? Jake Paul, he's going out here. You know, he's not fighting legitimate boxers, but he's knocking them out. And then you, Logan Paul, you get the opportunity to fight one of the best boxers of this era, TBE, and you knock him out. Now, do you think they're going to put you in the top 15? You know what I'm saying? It's going to be some crazy shit going on. Floyd, I know Floyd's smart. I know he is. But don't let these Paul brothers, don't let Logan Paul put hands on you and even hurt you. Don't do it, bro. I know you're going to wear him down. Logan Paul don't have no motherfucking cardio. This motherfucker ain't been training like you do, Floyd. He ain't up at 2:30 in the morning running. You know he out of shape when it comes to your dedication and your way of living. You know that shit. But don't let this motherfucker get lucky and touch you up. Don't do it. Because we don't need these Paul brothers getting any more shine than what they are, man. See, this is what I'm looking at. This fight isn't going on Floyd Mayweather's record. So whatever the results is, it's just going to be for talk. It's just going to be for bragging rights. And the only one that can brag is Logan Paul. Floyd can't brag for shit on this fight because he's fighting a nobody. Logan Paul is absolutely a nobody when it comes to this boxing game. The only one that can earn something with bragging rights is absolutely Logan Paul. And we don't want right now in this boxing game where you got so many people crying about MMA. They crying about boxing, but yet they hardcore boxing fans. Please don't have their idol go out here and get hurt by a YouTube influencer and allow the Logan Pauls to grace the magazine of phenoms, boxing phenoms, Jake and Logan Paul. We don't need this shit. We don't need that. We didn't think Floyd Mayweather get hurt in the bout with Marcos Maidana, but he did. Floyd Mayweather wasn't fighting Conor McGregor at no 190. When it comes down to me, I don't think Floyd has too much to worry about. But also when it comes to the weight doesn't mean he's going to generate power and speed behind that. Okay? He had his moments in there against KSI, but who is KSI comparable to Logan Paul? He's the same dude. They're YouTube sensations, influencers. No boxing skills. Both of these guys was wild in their matchup, but when it comes down to Floyd, yeah, Floyd can be able to make this dude miss. But also you're older, and then you have this 190-pound cheesecake going in there trying to make a name for himself. And I'm telling you, if Logan Paul goes in there and lands a shot on Floyd Mayweather that gets him hurt, long behold, sounds the trumpets. Sound the trumpets. People are going to start comparing the Paul brothers as boxing phenoms. They're going to start continuously downgrading the boxers who done put all that sacrifice and work in to the amateurs. Do you really have to go to the amateurs now? Because when looking at the Paul brothers, they have proven that you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to hear that bullshit. Boxing already has enough discrepancies to it right now. And I don't think there's nobody on YouTube that can influence Floyd Mayweather to stop coming back to boxing and performing in fights like this. Like with Tenshin Nashikawa. Tenshin Nashikawa was a much smaller fighter. We wasn't worried about that shit. But Conor McGregor was an official boxing match. That went on his record. That was his 50th victory. But now you're increasing the weight with Logan Paul. And the only thing they're going to try to do is knock your ass out. That's all. That's all Logan Paul is going to try to do. Once that fails and he starts getting tired, Floyd Mayweather is going to have a field day on this motherfucker. But they're going to try to knock Floyd out. If they knock you out, I mean, Triller will have both Paul brothers on there, and they're going to get more press than the boxers that's on that shit. I'm serious. This is a fight that's not going on Floyd's record. So win or lose, it doesn't matter. It's not going on Floyd's record. They're not going to sanction a fight where it's a 30-pound difference. They're not going to sanction that shit as a real boxing match. I thought Mayweather was a promoter. Why isn't he training one of the young fighters to fight Logan to promote his promotional company? That would be more prudent business move, because one of his fighters, first of all, one of his fighters doesn't have the name to bring in the butts, bring the butts to the seats. He don't have a fighter in his stable that has that price tag. He might have plenty, but we all know Floyd Mayweather doesn't have a track record to say, oh, let me just selectively pick. It's not like a car. It's not like a showroom floor when you go in there and you have a fleet of luxury cars and you say, let me get that Bugatti. And the value is going, okay, cool. I thought you was going to pick this one over here, but okay, you want the Bugatti. Okay, cool. Let's go. It's not like he has a showroom selection in his his gym in Vegas. He just don't have that. Ain't these other dudes no deflection? Floyd Jr. and Senior said Triple G was too big. They were correct. But you again coming here displaying idiomatic tendencies comparing Triple G and Logan Paul. Jake is a big dude, though. Floyd should see the shots coming, but a landed shot by a big, strong kid could have a nasty chapter of Floyd's legacy and write a new book of a legacy for Jake. It could write a new book, man. And that's a page we ain't trying to turn there, Mitch. We ain't trying to turn that motherfucker, dog. We're not trying to see that shit. Can you show me where I compared Logan to Triple G? I mentioned them in the same statement. Yes, but compare, no. Show me the comparison. Mention them in both as it pertains to Floyd is effing stupid, but carry on. King Mitch, facts are only stupid to those who refuse to accept them. But you know, when it comes down to the Paul brothers, though, I do agree with Mitch. You know, it will write a different chapter that we're not trying to read in boxing. Because, like I said, it's a lot of people that are only hardcore, so-called title, hardcore boxing fans. That's what they call themselves, hardcore boxing fans. But when it comes to them criticizing Floyd Mayweather for fighting Logan Paul, you're not going to hear it. But they say they're hardcore boxing fans. But they're not going to criticize Floyd Mayweather for fighting Logan Paul. But they criticize Teofimo Lopez for fighting on Triller when he's getting paid 3.1, which is damn good money. And not only that, he's fighting his legitimate IBF mandatory. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't want to criticize and say it's fucked up that Floyd Mayweather is fighting because, for one, it's not going on his record. And two, I've said it myself that Floyd can do what the fuck he want to do. But let's be honest. Let's be honest. You're going to put this shit on PPV and you pretty much, once again, coming in here fighting and basically providing a paycheck for the second Paul brother. You're paying the Paul brothers. I mean, there's plenty of other fighters that's legit that you can fight as boxers, but you're allowing the Paul brothers to continue to get this exposure, and it sucks. Because it'd be good to see another fighter jump in there besides the Paul brothers. Seriously. There's not another name that can go in there and you can fight besides Logan Paul, who's 0-1 as a professional boxer. And that's versus another YouTube sensation. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But once again, people sit up here and say Floyd can do what Floyd want to do. Floyd do what Floyd does. Jay Paul is up here knocking out basketball players. He's knocking out slam dunk champions. He's knocking out a guy who didn't even get any sparring in leading up to their first fight. He's knocking out a mixed martial artist who had a hip replacement. An individual who obviously wasn't totally prepared. His warm-up, his mid game far exceeded his performance in the ring. On mitts, he performed way better. But when the bell rung, that stance that he had took me back to motherfucking like I was looking at Willie Pett. When I was looking at goddamn boxing way back. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at, dog? Like, that stance he had was mixed martial arts boxing watching on black and white film. When they used to have the reel and shit. When you used to hear the sound of the motherfucking shit spinning from the steel reels they used to have. That shit look so old school. I mean, what about moving around and on your feet being light? You know, just like a mixed martial artist, they can switch stances. Orthodox southpaw, it don't matter. They can switch stances all day long. But Ben Askren is out there looking like he just started, and he's completed his second session at the YMCA of boxing. And then people get on here and say, well, he threw the fight. I'm gonna tell you like this: Jake Paul hit him with a damn good shot. He didn't throw the fight. He slipped two of those right hands before, and he got tagged with the other one, the one that put him down. Hey, Floyd Mayweather can use to promote however he chooses. I'm not sure. Like Mayweather Promotions, Floyd doing what Floyd wants to do, man. You know what I'm saying? J8 in the building, salute to you. The bigger fight will be Floyd versus Jake. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. But we all know that's a dangerous fight. Look, why would I even say some shit like that? That's how I'm saying boxing is fucked up on this YouTube shit, because you come across and say some shit like that. Like Jake Paul, who would say a YouTube influencer, would be a dangerous fight for Floyd Mayweather right now. If you're not honest with yourself, with integrity and reporting on the sport, and you get on here and say, oh man, he was run circles around Jake Paul. What weight class? So you telling me if Jake Paul comes in at 190 and fight Floyd Mayweather, Floyd with that boxing skills that Jake Paul has, the little boxing skills he has, and the power he has in that right hand, whether it be from low, medium to high, that'll be a much more of a dangerous fight for Floyd Mayweather, to be honest. Yes, sir. Very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Very dangerous. But he could have continued. The ref called it early. No. Y'all looking at that shit from TV, man. He was hurt. And if they would have continued, allow him to continue, he just would have been knocked out even worse. You have to understand how certain people get knocked down. Let's take it for Mickey Ward and Toro Gotti. Some of the knockdowns they experience, on your knees, you're there, you're listening to the count, you're coherent enough to hear the ref count, and you get back up. Okay, cool. I'm good. Boom. You go back into it. It's the difference between that type of knockdown and the way Ben Askren was knocked. The way he was knocked down by Jorge Masvidal from the flying knee, and the way Jake Paul hit him, both of those knockdowns were similar in the way Ben Askren's body just froze up, and it was stiff as a pole. It was like, boom, he froze up. He was stiff. Boom, hit the ground. Okay, kind of woke up a little bit. That's dangerous. That's fucking dangerous. It's certain people that get knocked down and they have a little bit of coherence about it, and they say, okay, let me make it back to my feet, wait for the count. Boom. Like the knockdown, say, for instance, of Diaz. David Diaz or Damon Nicholson. They was able to get back up. They was coherent enough to listen to the count a little bit and rise back up. But yet, when you look at Ben Askren, he was hit with that right hand. He froze up. That's dangerous, dog. You want him to continue to fight after somebody froze up like that? Take, for instance, Luke Campbell, Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, he fell back on his right arm, but he was able to get back up. He didn't freeze up like Ben Askren. Ben Askren froze up like you took that motherfucker out the freezer. That's dementia. That's, that you let that fight go on, he might not ever step back into any fighting arena again, period. Dangerous for Jake Paul to fight Floyd. Yeah, there's some dangers, and there's some dangerous situations for Jake Paul to fight Floyd, but also there's some dangers that people are unwilling to talk about because they continue to think that Floyd can continue to come in here and easily walk through his opponents. And I'm not saying, look, I'm not saying he won't have success in there early. All I'm saying is that Floyd Mayweather is getting older and he has an extensive boxing career. So if Floyd Mayweather is 43 in real life, in boxing years, he's probably 50 to 53. He's put wear and tear on his body. Not only did he put wear and tear on his body, but just because he's maintaining salubrity outside of the ropes, he still has that wear and tear with taking punches, getting up, running, staying in shape. It's wear and tear. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, look at B-Hop. Okay, we can look at B-Hop, person who don't drink and smoke. We can look at Floyd, fighter that don't drink and smoke. We can look at all that shit. We can look at George Foreman, fight Michael Moore. We can look at all that. Is it possible for them to have success like George Foreman had against Michael Moore? Of course. But we're talking about a totally different weight class. And we're talking about a fighter in Jake Paul, who Roy Jones, who I talked to him, I said, so what's your assessment on Jake Paul? Because all the hype and shit that's behind him, can he really box? He said Jake Paul can box better than what people give him credit for. He did have some amateur experience. People are not willing to give him credit because he's a YouTube guy, but he does have boxing. So what I was looking at when I was in the stands, I just wanted to see his boxing skills up close and personal. You know what I'm saying? They was okay. But I can tell you this, that he's been working extensively on that right hand. I can tell you that much. Him releasing that right hand the way he did, he's been working on that a lot in the gym. That's what I know from seeing him up close and personal. He's been working on, his power shots. He does present much more of a competitive bout, with Floyd Mayweather than Logan Paul. Mitch say Troy, yeah, but I don't think Floyd fighting Jake Paul is an example of that. That's how Oscar built Golden Boy, not by taking fights from the fighters. Now, that analogy is a bit strained for me because, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, is not considered one of the premier boxing promotions that's out there. Even with Oscar De La Hoya's boxing career and his legacy, I mean, all people are talking about is why he's coming back July 3rd. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is he coming back if his promotion company is doing all this shit great? He's falling behind the footsteps of Floyd Mayweather. Why? Because you're not going to be able to go in there and fight a Japanese fighter for $9 million. You don't have the bravado or the swag to do that there, Oscar. But I ain't going to lie to you, though. In a sober state, man, Oscar De La Hoya that was on Triller, though, oh, my God. I'm not going to lie, man. I was mere feet away from getting an interview with Oscar. I was so close. I'm not going to lie to you. But I think he was fucked up then, too. But I'm just saying, I was so close. That Oscar De La Hoya that was on Triller, if that would have been the Oscar De La Hoya that was in his career, instead of that boring ass tree sap type of personality that he presented to us as boxer fans, he would have had more fans, dog. The shit he was saying was fucking hilarious, man. It doesn't matter if he was high or not. Look, people have to understand this shit. When it comes to boxing, it's boxers in this sport from all walks of life. It's no motherfucking saints up in this sport. Boxers come from all walks of life. So if Oscar want to come on set with Snoop who's the co-owner of Triller, and they say, man, we want you to get lit. We got Al Bernstein up there with a drink in his hand. We got weed. I'm up here in the goddamn first row. I'm like, shit. Thanks, Snoop. I'm inhaling. Okay, Snoop. What's that shit called? That ain't chronic. That's called Venus and Pluto. That's called the black hole. God damn it. That shit is called motherfucking super duper space gas up in this bitch. Like they was literally smoking. And what's his name? I forgot the announcer, but they took him. Look, this is real talk. I talked to him in the lobby, right? They took him off air because he wasn't outgoing and turned up enough. Like his personality, he wasn't being natural and over the top. They wanted you to be as if you was at happy hour with your friends and you had a couple of drinks. They took him off air. That shit he said on the broadcast, he said, fuck so-and-so. He took me off air because I wasn't doing this and that. Now I'm fucking back. He was being real. He was being real, y'all. You saying to yourself, Al Bernstein, of all people, probably went home that night and people was hitting his phone up and say, Al, what are you doing, my friend? Why, Triller? That's not you, Al. And Al was like, listen, I'm gonna hit you up in about 3 days, goddamn it, because I'm high as fuck. I don't even I can't tell you what Snoop was goddamn smoking up that motherfucker, but the DOGG, that shit got me high as a motherfucker right now. And it's gonna take me 3 days to come back down to earth. So hey, I know y'all hit me up on the phone, but give me 3 days, give me 72 hours, and I'm gonna hit y'all back, okay? Because goddamn it, I'm about to hit Snoop up and we about to do this all over again. Al Bernstein was up there. Look, they fucked Al Bernstein's motherfucking his goddamn his good image. This good image Al Bernstein had, the legend, the Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying? Al didn't know what to fucking do. Snoop did what Snoop wanted to do. That's all I'm saying. When Oscar came up there fucked up, oh man, that shit was great. That shit was great. When he said USSR, that shit was hilarious, man. I mean, I liked it. People up here dogging Oscar out. Oh, this look, Oscar is already embarrassed about the pictures that he had out there. You think him coming on set fucking with Snoop and smoking, that shit gonna embarrass him even more? No, man, that shit was good. That shit was good for Triller. That shit was solid entertainment, man. I was laughing my ass. I was like, man, that shit is hilarious, dog. Anyway, J8 in the building. He says, hold up. Let Rolly fight Jake Paul. Hell no, they're in two different weight classes. J8. Jake Paul is damn near cruiserweight, dog. Rolly is at 135 right now. Mitch, I'm sure Floyd's promotional company would be involved, so it's added to the promotion company if anything. I agree with that. Usman and Adesanya stay active. They fight every other 3 to 4 months. Yeah, mixed martial arts is different, of course. It's different, and some of the boxers should, you know, some of the boxers are fighting frequently too. Some of the boxers are fighting more frequently now too. Now that the live gate is gradually opening back up in certain regions. The only so-called premier promotion company is Eddie Hearn's. Next, Mark Nash in the building. Salute. What's good? What's good? Please. Follow the footsteps of a man you built. Who built who again? Because you have to understand, I'm speaking on multiple topics. Who built who again? He looks. If you're talking about Oscar building up Floyd Mayweather, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Just because fighters was signed, just because this, that, and the other happened. Come on, man. How? Man, you sound crazy. So all you know how they say all praise be to who? So all praise to De La Hoya for freaking Floyd Mayweather's success. Come on, stop it. You on the shit, the same shit Oscar De La Hoya was on that night. He looks beautiful. He looks in shape. USSA, baby. Oscar was hilarious. He was, man. You know, hey, when he said that shit, he said he looks beautiful. I was like, God damn it, Oscar. They say a goddamn a drunken man words is a sober man thoughts. You know what I'm saying? A drunken man's words is a sober man's thoughts. And that's what you were seeing from motherfucking Oscar De La Hoya, for real. He said he don't give a damn about Oscar's personal life, high drunk, not my business. All I know is Golden Boy is established. He's established. There's a lot of people who has established promotion companies. And you know, you can build a part of a house. That doesn't mean it's fit for you to go move in. You know what I'm saying? You can build some of it, but that doesn't mean the entire structure is going to be accredited to Golden Boy. You know, just because they had a meeting somewhere in their career and they had they crossed paths somehow. Anybody in boxing, they're not going to say that Oscar De La Hoya, all praise to him for building up Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Just like Deontay Wilder, the best heavyweight in the sport. People don't say all praise to De La Hoya. They don't say all praise to Golden Boy for the success that Deontay Wilder had. It just doesn't go like that. You know what I'm saying? But the next time I'm asking, I'll say, hey, can you somehow link this fight up, Anthony Joshua, so he can have some cojones to fight Deontay Wilder? Can you link that up there, De La Hoya? Can you talk to that guy over there they call Eddie Hearns? Somehow, some way. Look, he looks that shit was classic. He looked like the Donis. Attracts the feature. Okay. Good crack will have you saying that. Nah, they wasn't on no crack. You can smell the shit in the arena now. They was on that good. They was on that good got. Shit. I was down on the closest road that you can get. You know, I came in, I was on the floor. I wish I could have stayed down there on the floor. I would have had some amazing pictures, but I wasn't able to. But with everything, patience, everything, I'm on my way. I'm good. Golden Boy is established but fading rapidly at the moment. TMT is not Golden Boy though. Mayweather promotion isn't Golden Boy. You're absolutely right. But Mayweather has an umbrella of PBC. He has that close-knit connection with Al Heyman. So, you know, it might be when Floyd Mayweather is 50, in his early 50s, where his promotion company may indeed blossom just a little bit more than what it is right now. And then, of course, his Golden Boy still on the scene. It's going to be one of the premier. You know what I'm saying? Bob Arum, if he's still alive, then I don't know. He'll be 100 years old. I don't see it happening. But we don't know how his top rank is going to run outside of Bob Arum. I'm pretty sure there's people up here that's anxious. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that works out, man. Oscar already done told half his fighters soft. Called half his fighters soft. He got to work on that, man. No, whoever said Oscar made Floyd is on crack. Yeah, man. You can't sit up here and say Oscar made Floyd. Got to keep it tall. HBO, hail Golden Boy hand. Now they looking for the zone, ESPN, and squeeze their sweaty palms. Yeah, man. It's connections though in boxing. Look, boxing is the sport. You know what I'm saying? You see, do y'all ever listen clearly to the language on how people refer to comparison mixed martial arts and boxing? They always say boxing, right? When it comes down to it. But when they mention mixed martial arts, they use the UFC. And I'm saying, for those of you that's out here listening, because I know you haven't mentioned it, You all should be referring to boxing like y'all do the UFC, but boxing would never be an entity like that. Because, like I always repeat, when they refer to mixed martial arts, people pretty much zone in on UFC, Bellator, and other organizations, neighboring organizations, when it comes to the promotions and the sport they promote. But when it comes to boxing, people just say boxing and they don't even really mention the promotions. Why? Because promotions aren't attached to the sanctioning bodies. But when you have the UFC has one structural belt system for their championships. They're in charge. They have a single president. They're tightly organized. What if, when it comes to boxing, people refer to boxing like they do the UFC? They can't do that because it's everywhere. It's too many branches. There's too many branches everywhere. Everybody can goddamn start growing their own shit and motherfucking get a piece of the pie. We don't know where boxing at. People just don't say, well, Top Rank. What do you mean Top Rank? That's just a promotion. That don't mean shit. You know, you got this fight on Showtime. You got this over here. But when it comes to mixed martial arts, you know what fighters are in mixed martial arts at the UFC. You know which fighters in Bellator for mixed martial arts. They promote the same sport over there, but it's much more of an organization structure across the board. They're not cross-threading sanctioning bodies. It'll never be that way in mixed martial arts. Never. It will never be like boxing. It would take an act of God for boxing to reconstruct their organization, to narrow down the belt system and have it more of a close-knit organization like the UFC, Bellator, PFL, and all those other organizations. Like for Top Rank to have his own belt system. Showtime to have his own belt system. Golden Boy to have his own belt system, sanctioned bodies attached only to that promotion. That's when we get some organization in boxing. But it's not going to happen, man. Triple G only wanted to pursue small fighters than him and Manny Floyd. No answer for the Andre Ward call out. He don't want that Andre Ward, but that'll be a good fight. I'd like to see that, though. I'm not going to lie. I'd like to see that shit. Kimmich, how's fading? You have to be successful first to be first. You have to be successful first to be first. TBE promotion has never been established. Mayweather Promotions, first of all, Mayweather Promotions is the promotion, and it is established. It holds fight cards, plus it has fighters that are competing professionally. It's Mayweather Promotions. It's not TBE Promotions. TBE is just the acronym used to describe Floyd Mayweather, just like the GWOAT, greatest woman of all time. It's just an acronym. But Floyd Mayweather Promotions, you will see Mayweather Promotions. Just like you have other fighters who have promotion companies that's small, mid-level promotion companies. If they're co-promoting and getting a certain percentage off this particular fight card, they're going to be on a flyer. They might not be as large as the primary promoter, but they will be somewhere down there in the fine print. I've been some of Mayweather fight cards, and I have to give him his props. He has some solid fights on there. You know what I'm saying? He's working. I can tell you this. I think when it all comes down to it, Floyd Mayweather's promotion company may surpass Golden Boy, who's been on the scene much longer. It may surpass Golden Boy if he's willing to not treat fighters as if they're going to Rodeo Drive just to get a boxing match. You know, they ain't trying to go out there and pay motherfucking $5,000 for a t-shirt just because it has Gucci on it. When you have all these fighters that's going through TMT and training, and none of them are really signing with Floyd Mayweather like that, it's a reason they're not signing with Floyd. They're not trying to give up a huge amount of their purse, i.e. Mickey Bay. People say, brother, why you want to do a brother like that, man? Ask Floyd. Ask Floyd why Mickey Bay was in the shit he was. Why he was coming off the percentage of his money the way he was. Ask him, brother to brother, right? Ask him why it was like that. Mickey looked like a brother to me. Golden Boy lost their cash cow Canelo. That's how they're fading. Ron is taking breaks to manage his health and well-being. Virgil Ortiz is a bright spot, but look at it this way too, right? I hear people talking about how Canelo signed a $365 million deal. And I'm like, man, y'all really think he was paid all that money? Wasn't it contingent on 11 fights? Wasn't it contingent on 11 fights? And then if that deal wasn't fulfilled, right? How can you sit up here and boost up Canelo for signing a $365 million deal and then go to court to get himself released from that deal because, Golden Boy really wasn't living up to their side of the bargain? How can you boost him up when he did not fulfill the contract of $365 million? Now, is he making money? Yes, he is. But he did in no way, shape, or form fulfill $365 million. He did not. So let's stop boosting that up as if that's a way that, throw a check mark out there that, he said $365 million and he's the cash cow of cash cow. No, he ain't. You know why he ain't the cash cow? Point blank, period. Let's get it over and done with. Name me one fight Canelo has, PPV, that's in the top 5 like Floyd Mayweather. Name me one. I'm here. Because that's what Floyd Mayweather's bragging rights will be consistently talked about. His PPV status. Are we talking about just the boxer making money as a cash cow? Or are we talking about PPV status? Isn't PPV one of the monikers that they use to say, hey, so-and-so is a cash cow off this? So if that's the case, then we need to understand that's how you plan it. So-and-so is a cash cow because of this fight right here. So this amount of PPVs. Imagine if Teofimo Lopez and Vasil Lomachenko would have been on PPV and did over 4 million buys. Then that would have been something to talk about. But yet it was on free TV. So yeah, it's good for conversation briefly, about a week and week and 2 days. But then besides that, people just go back to regular, I'm now back to our regular scheduled program. That was free TV. We showed you the love. Now people are waiting to see what Teofimo Lopez does on PPV with Triller. And then, of course, so many people are dogging it out already. Dana White has been adamant about saying that Triller is doing this and that to the numbers, but this is going to be a very interesting mid-year. You know what I'm saying? The June 26th, what is the June 26th date? It's going to be interesting. The Teofimo Lopez going up against Floyd Mayweather is going to be interesting. His PPV numbers on Triller are going to be very interesting because Triller is putting a lot of effort at Teofimo Lopez. Of Golden Boy has Ortiz and can put on all Latino card if he chooses to. Ortiz isn't a big name, first and foremost. Ortiz isn't a big name. Yeah, he was stepping there with Maurice Hooker and people was like tuned in, okay. But real talk, when it comes down to Edgar Berlanga and Virgil Ortiz, shit, a lot of people tune in to Edgar Berlanga because he has that knockout power and he's not boring to watch. He doesn't walk around with a high guard and talk about he had glove burns on his face from being punched in the gloves. Now, Edgar Berlanga, you know, if the fight get close, Edgar is going to goddamn try to create that space and take your head off. More entertaining fight than me is Edgar Berlanga right now. I mean, I know they have two different promotions. I'm just saying, Virgil Ortiz is not a big name to me as of yet. He's just not. I don't give a damn about cash cows. Canelo is a fighter for fighters. I enjoy what he does in the ring. No one say they enjoy what Canelo does. A lot of people do care about cash cows. They absolutely do. We care. Boxing fans care about who's bringing in the money. Who's the PPV star? Right now, the PPV star isn't Canelo Alvarez. But the cash cow per se, with him making his bag, may presumably be Canelo Alvarez. But you have so many other boxers that's trying to make their way up into the picture, like a Teofimo Lopez with Triller, Gervonta Davis. Slowly but surely, they're trying to place themselves in that PPV arena. Canelo is cool. That was a good move for him to get away from Golden Boy, but you have to acknowledge that it was indeed a hit to Oscar and Golden Boy to lose their top earner. They should have understand how precious Canelo was when they had him and not take it for granted just to damn milk the cow. They shouldn't have just milked him like that. They should have did everything necessary to make sure Canelo grew exponentially, man. Make sure he grew out of this. He didn't have a ceiling. It should have been more people calling, for Canelo for the fights. But, Canelo fighting who Canelo wants to fight. Okay. Say, for instance, Canelo, he gets released from the contract. So since he's been released from the contract, who has he fought? If it was such a big deal, if we're going to put all the culpability on Oscar. Yeah, I mean, Oscar is basically saying, well, the names of the premier fights, we had Khabib Nurmagomedov and, shit like that. Well, that's what boxing is allowing to convolute their interest to the boxing fans. They having boxers fight mixed martial artists because of money. The promoters like Eddie Hearn, he was one of the main culprits who allowed it to happen and had legitimate boxers on the undercard. So blame him. He did it. He did it. He brought YouTube guys over there to make some money off of them and put boxers on the undercard. If I was a boxer on the undercard, I would say, man, come on, bro. It's no way they're going to be in front of me. Real boxing fans don't care about PPV numbers. No one pays to watch PPV numbers. But in order for fans to watch the fights, they have to pay for the PPV. In order for fans to get on here in social media and speak of boxers to separate them as being just an average fighter to a higher tier fighter, numbers is always in play. You know why they're in play, Troy? Because boxing is a business first. So that totally outweighs what you said about no one cares about PPV numbers. Yes, they do, because boxing is a business first. Business include numbers. Those numbers is consistent with the fighter and what they're making, and especially what they can do for the network on PPV. Now that the live gates are coming back into play, if PPV didn't matter, then why are a lot of fights on PPV? If no one cares about PPV, why? Because it makes money. It basically shows if a fighter is a prize fighter. It's a difference just being a fighter and being a prize fighter. Aside from Errol, every fight on Spence versus Garcia was Latino like a motherfucker. Yeah. I mean, if they want to come up there and match them up, just like Oscar Valdez and Miguel Burchell, that shit was fire. You know what I'm saying? Even with the COVID, they catching COVID, they still took that fight and made it happen. Real boxing, I already read that. King Mitch, the undercard of Spence versus Garcia sucks. You know it. There are no current active boxers fighting MMA fighters. There are no current active boxers fighting MMA fighters. So you saying there's no current active boxers fighting MMA fighters? It's not the fact that they are fighting. It's the fact that they have. It's the fact that they have a fight. You know what I'm saying? They have a fight. You have women who was crossing over to mixed martial arts and having a fight in mixed martial arts. You have Carissa Shields, who is an active professional boxer, who's about to have her first fight in MMA. So once again, Troy, get yourself straight. They are active boxers who are in line to fight mixed martial artists. Now, if you're trying to say, well, boxers, they need for the mixed martial artists that come over here to the boxing ring. Well, guess what? If it's on the boxing rules, is it boxing? Who cares? Because once again, if you're using that, then I can take you back to Clay Collard. I can take you to Clay Collard. Clay Collard just had a mixed martial arts match. Clay Collard last year was absolutely a mixed martial artist and a boxer. He stepped in there with Kapinski, an undefeated 19-year-old, and beat the crap out of him. So in spurts, there are boxers fighting mixed martial artists, but they're only a select group of mixed martial artists who can switch back and forth from MMA to boxing. But there are indeed fighters who do it. Just allow me a little bit more time and I'll give you some more names. There are plenty. They're plenty. They're in little sprinkles, but they're plenty. I don't know what you mean by fighting MMA fighters. You know, I'm not going through what MMA fighters is. If they're in a boxing ring on the boxing rules, they're boxing. If they're in an MMA cage fighting a boxer on the MMA rules, it's MMA. If you want to break it down even more as to a fighter that's currently active, a mixed martial artist that's fighting in boxing, there's plenty who have boxing license. There's plenty who have boxing license. Let's put an MMA fighter who's 2-5 as a boxer, but in MMA they might be 3-0. What do you call them? Because they're cross-threading combat sports. So there's no such thing as just, well, strictly an MMA guy, a girl who's coming over to box in the boxing ring. Once you get your boxing license, you are indeed a professional boxer. We have boxers coming off the street. What I mean by that, you have guys who get approved for their boxing license off the couch. And when they are announced as a boxer with an 0-0 record making their debut. They're not announced unless they're at the highest tier of elite status, like Conor McGregor. They're not going to announce that for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching. Introducing mixed martial artist, 2-division champion, Conor McGregor. That's the only time they would do that, just to boost up the fight against Floyd Mayweather. But there's plenty of fighters out there. It's not up to me to go into this because, for one, I've heard you say several times that you don't care about MMA. So I'm not going to have a conversation about MMA with a non-MMA voice. You don't like mixed martial arts. So why am I going to engage in that? Why? It's pointless. You said there was none. Yeah, he said it was none, but Carissa Shields is training up there at Winklejohn. She's an MMA fighter. She's on the fly with PFL. She's an active fighter that's fighting in mixed martial arts. She's an active unified champion that's fighting in mixed martial arts. Which one is it going to be? Because if a mixed martial artist come over here to boxing, it's on the boxing rules. They're a boxer, regardless of whatever skill set they got. Lomachenko is skilled in kickboxing and mixed martial arts. But what do they refer as Lomachenko? They refer to him as a boxer. But he does know mixed martial arts. Check out the videos. Dillian White, your brother, he also is a kickboxer. He also is a kickboxer. But when Dillian White is introduced, he's introduced as a boxer. They don't really introduce his kickboxing pedigree. They don't introduce his kickboxing pedigree. They just introduce Dillian White as a boxer. The list goes on and on and on and on to the break of dawn. No, you don't enjoy MMA. I heard you talk against that. You don't enjoy MMA. No, stop it. Stop it. No, stop it. Shields is on the flyer of PFL. That means she's a mixed martial artist. She has a mixed martial arts license, and she is a mixed martial artist. It doesn't matter if she's never fought. She's training at Winklejohn, one of the top tier training facilities in mixed martial arts. She is on the flyer to have a first fight. When you see boxing flyers and you see the main card on there, whoever they choose to put on the flyer, those fighters are considered what? Boxers. They're considered boxers. They don't put up their debut. They don't put records up there unless you're the main event. When you're on a boxing fly, you are a boxer. When you're on an MMA fly, you're a mixed martial artist. Free game. Free game. She signed the contract. Correct. Carissa Shields is on the PFL flyer for her upcoming fight with Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis is on that flyer. Carissa Shields is promoting her PFL debut as a mixed martial artist. That's why she's doing promo and putting out training videos with John Jones, Holly Holmes, Michelle Waterson. See, you wouldn't know those names unless you really follow the sport. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of effort to know dual combat sports and what's going on with them. Free game. Ink dry shit in her PFL contract too. That shit's dry as hell. that shit's dry as hell, dog. Debut is a debut. When you pick up a license, I'm only speaking for myself, a person who's been around the amateur cars all the way up to the professional cars, right? When you have a license, just like I have some coach's license, right? I have coach's license in certain areas that allows me to move around much differently than just, switching up from media. I can get more closer and help out, the real coaches if I choose to be, because sometimes they allow you 3 people to be in the corner. You wouldn't know about that unless you attend the cards. But I have a coach's license. Am I a coach? I have a coach's license. I sign up, and in certain regions, I'm considered a coach. I can get approved for media credentials and still be a coach and walk up to the ring with the fighter with their team. And I can just goddamn grab the spit bucket and put it up there, just like Leonard Ellerby used to do for Floyd. Free game, free game, free game, dog. You know what I'm saying? Free game. I'm telling you. It says coach. Am I a boxing coach? No. But do I have a license to be? Yes. It's how that shit work. You know, different regions you be a part of, you can get assigned for a boxing license as a coach. Just like a mixed martial arts, just like professional fighter, any way, shape, or form. Any way, shape, or form. You get approved for a license, and you know, they consider you a professional fighter. You go in there and you win, you on box rec. Boom. Free game. You're wrong. There are current fighters that's fighting MMA fights. You're wrong. I'm not gonna go into it. You're wrong. They are. Heather Hardy. Heather Hardy have MMA fighters. You must not pay attention to the women's side of the house. There are active fighters who fight MMA. You say there are no current boxers fighting MMA fights, and I gave you Clay Collard. I just gave you a name that's out there. I gave you Clay Collard, dog. Clay Collard is an active MMA guy, and he's an active boxer. This man was he was going ahead defeating undefeated boxers on TV. Quentin Randall, who just fought on Triller, he has a win over Clay Collard before he went on that winning streak. Clay Collard, active boxer, who has an MMA fight, who just completed an MMA fight. He's an active boxer. If you have an active license, you are an active boxer. If your boxing license is good, you are an active boxer. If you're going to use that A word. But what I would suggest is attend some fight cards and get more acclimated to how the process work with licenses and everything like that. And, you know, understand that how different processes work for different regions when it comes to a boxer who is an active professional. You know what I'm saying? It all depends. But there are active boxers out here who's fighting MMA. There's plenty. Easy. Just do your homework. Like I said before, you have the access to Google, and you want to now talk about the year being in April. But all of a sudden, you're not understanding that Clay Collard is an active boxer. His professional boxing license is active. So therefore, regardless if he fought last year, just because a fighter go a week or two without fighting, he's inactive. You're not making any sense, man. You really, you're really showing like you're not paying enough attention to the entire scope of what your language is when it comes to boxing. Like it's so open-ended. Boxing is so open-ended. But when it comes down to you're saying active and he fought last year. So what's the time frame on the word active when you look it up in the dictionary? It's no time frame. It's people that haven't fought in a whole year. But you're not hearing people go around here cry about Tyson Fury not being a professional boxer. He just haven't fought since last year. So he's still an active fighter, and he hasn't fought since last year. People still on here talking about him fighting Anthony Joshua. They're not talking about he's not an active boxer because he hasn't fought last year. Man, I'm done with this. I'm done. I have children. I don't have time to be explaining this basic stuff to adults. You want to talk about somebody fighting last year as being inactive, but yet you have boxers up here that went through the pandemic for 8, 10, 12 months, didn't fight, and they're still professional active boxers. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, Mitch. You know, Fury is still an active boxer, but I give him the name of an active boxer and Clay Collard. And he said he hasn't fought since last year. That's pitiful, dog. That's pitiful, dog. Come on, man. That's pitiful. If Clay Collard is actively a professional fighter, now once again, what are you talking about current? What are you talking about current? So 1201 last night is current. You're not even sound like you're educationally inclined to know how to have a conversation about real world topics, man. Like, what are you talking about, dog? Why are you even over here in my live chat doing this? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Now you putting time frames to words that if you look them up in their definition, it's just going to give you a description in English. They're not going to put numeric start and finish points on current. They're not going to give you a numeric timeline on active. That's semantics, which grown adults, they don't play by those semantics. If they're going to give a spreadsheet and they want to give a timeline, they're going to give you a start and finish. But when it comes to this game that we're talking about right now, it's no way that you can sit up here and say current. COVID is current. COVID, that's current. PBC puts out a fight card. It gives you a whole lineup of fights they having this year. That's current. Every fighter who's scheduled for a fight, let's just say they fought last year, they have a fight coming up this year. Their active boxing license is current, bro. It's a waste of time, man. Pac-Man ain't active. Thurman ain't current. I know, man. It just doesn't make any sense, man. It's just like talking to a child. Like, Pac-Man hasn't fought since January 2019. And he held the belt for a while and just was stripped of the belt or put in recess, so to speak, right? But then again, he's not active. His boxing license is active. Man, look, I got to move on from this topic because it's definitely something that's irrelevant. You know what I'm saying? Because you look in a dictionary, you look on Google, current and active doesn't have numeric timelines for a start and finish to explain the word itself. The definition does not depict that no matter where you look at. You can go on dictionary.com, you can go encyclopedia, anything. Have no idea what you're talking about. Have no idea what you're talking about. Andy Ruiz won't be current until after the Chris fight. That's what I'm saying, man. Andy Ruiz isn't current. He won't be active, Mitch, until he fights this weekend or whatever he chose when he fights Areola. Then he will be active. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that, you know, both of these fighters are both active boxers in the sport. I don't know what you're talking about. Whoever. Second part. What do you mean? Really don't know what that is. You know, y'all speaking code. Don't know what it is. You better hurry up before I close this shit out. You better hurry up. Hall moved from. Are you driving or something? Uriah Hall moved closer upon the kick. All he did was just plant his feet. And through repetition, he allowed his knee to be 12 o'clock from his foot. That's all. All he did was base. He just based heavy on his lead foot. It wasn't moving closer. It's just he posted to check the kick. It's been plenty of people do that and they didn't break their shin. If the right kicker lands a kick, they could have knocked he could have knocked Uriah Hall, spin him around a little bit. It's been done. That's not the give all. Like, just think about it this way. Look at how many low calf kicks that Dustin Poirier landed on Conor McGregor. Look how many low calf kicks Justin Gaethje lands on his opponent. Even Tony Ferguson. Everybody's shin don't snap in half just because they hit a leg that's solid. It might have been, how you put it, pre-existing fractures from kicking over and over again, shin to shin. You never know. It could have been that way in practice. It could have been just like pre-existing fractures for when, Uriah Hall planted that lead leg and was heavy on it. Chris Weidman kicked it. What about when Chris Weidman checked Anderson Silva's kick? He raised his leg up. He didn't plant it. And Anderson still snapped his damn tibia and fibula. And Chris Weidman's leg wasn't even planted. Style been Chris is out for a year. They should push one more year after the contract. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. That's what I have on my thumbnail if you didn't see it, but it is out there. Style Bender tire Costa leg up as well. Yeah. And Style Bender has some skinny ass legs. And he fucked up Acosta's legs. He fucked them up. And Costa, he has big legs, man. You know what I'm saying? And his shit got fucked up. It all depends. It might have been pre-existing fractures that, he landed that shot and it snapped it in half. You never know, man. You never know what's going on with these mixed martial artists. You never know. They kicking all the time. They may have some fractures. And when it comes down to it, they snap their leg in half. They say, man, I've thrown that kick several times before and the shit didn't work out like that. I was good. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm about to roll out. Appreciate everyone for pulling up as always. Salute Mitch. For J8. All those that pulled up with that solid content. Those of you that peeked in through the window and then leaving the input, more than welcome. Appreciate you pulling up anyway. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Continue to tune in. Have some big. I continue to have some big things in the work, and I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, once boxing start back up, it's not like I'm gonna be on here every day. I'll be in the field. Real talk. That's the more exciting part of it. But I'll try to get on here as frequent as possible, to talk with you all and to make sure that you get this boxing and MMA content like y'all know how, But y'all take it easy, man. Be safe out there. And I'm out.